Take a look.
Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has unveiled a transformative roadmap for the Konkan region, declaring major highways, growth centers, tourism hubs and industrial projects as true game changers that will bring jobs, industry and prosperity directly to villages. He also reviewed key infrastructure like the Dhabol Creek bridges, village roads, water supply schemes and rural networks. 11 growth centers have also been planned along the sea routes and coastal roads and will act as new engines for the region's economy, generating lakhs of jobs and reducing migration from villages. Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde announced that the entire 720-kilometer Konkan's coastline will be leveraged under the global village concept for tourism. Beach connectivity, tourism hubs, resorts, water sports and promotion of local handicrafts will position Konkan firmly on the international tourism map.
Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Minister Sunetra Pawar has been appointed as the Guardian Minister for Pune and the Beed districts, where she will oversee and accelerate development and welfare initiatives. Here's the full story.
Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Sunetra Pawar has been appointed as the Guardian Minister for Pune and Beed districts. The decision was officially announced by the state government, marking her expanded role in key administrative oversight. As the Guardian Minister, Sunetra Pawar will coordinate and monitor major development projects, government schemes and implementation of policies in both Pune and Beed. This assignment places her at the forefront of driving progress in two vital regions of the state. The move strengthens administrative focus on Pune, Maharashtra's cultural and industrial hub, and Beed, a key district in Marathwada, ensuring faster execution of infrastructure, agriculture, education and welfare initiatives. With her new responsibilities, Deputy CM Sunetra Pawar is set to play a pivotal role in accelerating growth, employment opportunities and quality of life improvements across Pune and Beed districts.
Finally, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis laid the foundation stone for the expansion of Ozar Airport in Nashik, aimed at boosting connectivity, exports and employment ahead of the Simhasta Kumbh Mela 2027. Here's a report.
In a major step to enhance connectivity and regional development, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis performed the groundbreaking ceremony for the expansion of Ozar Airport in Nashik on February 8, 2026. The state government has allocated Rs 640 crore for the project. The expansion is timely ahead of the Simhasta Kumbh Mela 2027, when Nashik expects an 8 to 10-fold surge in devotees. It will also support growing industrial activity, including HAL's large-scale production at Ozar, attracting ancillary industries and generating employment. Chief Minister Fadnavis emphasized that with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership opening EU and US markets for Nasik's fruits and produce, the airport expansion will drive significant export growth, create jobs and position Nasik as a key driver of Maharashtra's economic progress.
Well, these are this week's updates from Maharashtra. You're watching our special segment, Next in Maharashtra. Stay tuned for more news.
Welcome back. I am Medha and you're watching Newsx. Bangladesh is set to declare its results today after polling ended in the first national election since the 2024 July uprising ousted long-time Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The turnout, however, was just 60%. By midnight, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party had taken an unassailable lead over the hardline anti-India Jamaat and its allies, which was trailing with 38 seats in the contest to elect a new government to replace the Muhammad Yunus-led interim government. Yunus took charge after the collapse of the Hasina-led Awami League dispensation, a party banned from contesting the poll and its symbol, the boat, missing from ballot papers for the first time in 30 years. With that, let's take a look at the latest voter turnout numbers and who the two main contenders were in the race. Alright, so 127 million Bangladeshis voted in these elections that took place after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. Now coming to the voter turnout, according to the Bangladesh Election Commission, of course, stands at 60.69%. Now the voter turnout in 2024 was 41.8%. Now remember, the elections in 2024 brought back Sheikh Hasina and her Awami League party back to power. Additionally, let us also look at the election results of the previous 5 years as well. Now again, the voter turnout in the year 2018 stood at 80%, which is I think one of the highest in Bangladesh's history. Again, in the year 2018, Sheikh Hasina and her party, the Awami League, were brought back to power. So we can see that. And now in the year 2014, we can see that voter turnout was rather low, with voter turnout just being 40%. The voter turnout, remember, in this year's election stood at 60.69%. Now in the year 2014, again Sheikh Hasina and her Awami League party were brought back to power. You know, Sheikh Hasina had been in power rather for more than a decade. She had helmed the country for close to 15 years. Now in the year 2008, a record voter turnout standing at 87%. This was the year again when Sheikh Hasina came to power. Now remember, in the year 2026, the voter turnout stands at 60.67%. Now in the year 2001, the voter turnout stood at 75%, which is of course the elections when Khalida Zia and her party, the BNP, won along and had formed a coalition government along with the Jamaat-e-Islami. So these are the results of this year's elections. Now with that, let us take a look at who the two main contenders were in these elections. Of course, Tarique Rahman from the BNP, after his mother's death, he has taken control of the party. Now, born in 1965, Rahman is the son of former President Ziaur Rahman and ex-Prime Minister Khalida Zia. So Tarique Rahman's parents both have been in leadership position in Bangladesh. He dropped out of Dhaka University to enter the textile and shipping business. So he wasn't per se, very keen on education from what we're seeing, and dropped out to pursue career in business. He was jailed in 2007 and released in 2008 after alleged torture left him wheelchair bound. Now remember, he returned to exile after he had fled, saying that cases against him were politically motivated, and of course after his alleged torture. Now under Hasina's 15-year rule, he faced multiple terror and corruption cases he calls politically motivated. Of course, under the reign of Sheikh Hasina, Tarique Rahman said that he had faced politically motivated cases and had fled to London. Courts overturned those convictions in 2024, ending his 17-year exile. Now remember, he spent 17 years in exile abroad in London. Rahman was elected senior vice chairman of the BNP in 2009 while still in exile, while his mother Khalida Zia continued to helm the party. He never contested a single parliamentary seat until now, operating mostly as a behind-the-scenes power center. Of course, his mother was the main person, who had helmed the party. Now let us look at Dr. Shafiqur Rahman, who is of course the chief of the Islamist Jamaat-e-Islami. A trained medical doctor, Rahman holds an MBBS degree from Sylhet MEG Osmani Medical College. So doctor by profession, Shafiqur Rahman is the head of Jamaat-e-Islami. He entered politics as a student activist in the 1970s, first joining a left-wing student party and then turned to Islamist politics. He became Jamaat's acting Secretary General in 2011 after the arrest of a senior leader during war crimes trial. So these war crimes trial took place and were in a way to fix accountability of the 1971 of the genocide against Bengalis. Now Rahman opposes female leadership in his party, citing biological and maternal roles. Bangladesh's Jamaat-e-Islami has very candidly said that women are not fit for leadership positions. Now elected Amir by direct vote of party members, he was re-elected in 2023 and 2025. So he has been the chair of the party for quite some time. He was arrested in 2022 on military charges. Rahman was freed after 15 months and cleared of all accusations in 2025. In July 2025, he collapsed at a rally and later underwent an open heart bypass surgery. So, of course, this is the chief of Jamaat-e-Islami and the chief of BNP. Remember, both of these were the main contestants in this year's elections, wherein you did not have Sheikh Hasina's Awami League on the ballot, as it has been barred from elections and disbanded after her ouster. Now, in more updates coming in, BNP Chairman Tarique Rahman has directed leaders and activists at all organizational tiers to offer special prayers across the country after Jummah prayers today. He has also asked party leaders and supporters not to organize any victory rallies or gatherings anywhere in the country. My colleague Brian Thomas joins us for more on this. Brian, Tarique Rahman has of course directed his supporters to not organize any victory rallies after it has emerged that his party has won this year's elections with a landslide majority. Walk us through the details of this. All right, it seems like I'm facing some sort of connectivity issues with my colleague. With that, I would like to go across to Major Mohammad Ali Shah. Sir, of course, now I would like to say that the BNP, of course, has won this year's elections, but reports have documented more than 2,000 attacks against minorities in Bangladesh. In your opinion, sir, will the situation for the minorities in Bangladesh get any better after BNP's victory?
Right, Medha, I am an optimist and I only want to see the brighter side, and I think it's very unfortunate, very sad, and my heart pains as to what the minorities in Bangladesh, what my Hindu brethren had to go through in Bangladesh for the last 1.5 years, ever since Sheikh Hasina has been out in fact. So now what are the options? We have to see. Now Sheikh Hasina's party, Awami League, after 30 years, in fact, it's not been in part of the elections. In fact, we have Jamaat-e-Islami, which is very anti-India stance they have taken, and they are not very pro-Hindu. In fact, unfortunately, they have their influence by Pakistan. Now the very fact is, okay, if the BNP leader has links with Pakistan, who does not have links with Pakistan in Bangladesh? The very fact is that. Now, I would like to quote Salahuddin Ahmed. He's a senior member of the BNP. He says that the leadership committee said that the victory was expected. And it's not surprising that people of Bangladesh have placed their trust in a party capable of fulfilling the aspirations of the youth envisaged during the uprising. Now, he also added that the moment called for responsibility rather than celebration. So he has appealed that let's not celebrate right now. Let's mourn the death of his mother, who just passed away before elections. In fact, let's talk about Tarique Rahman, who's 58 years old. He's the eldest son of the former Prime Minister, Khaleda Zia. Now, he was the acting chairman of the Bangladesh National Party. He is also lived in self-imposed exile. In fact, he went away to London, in fact, since 2008. And that was followed by the multiple criminal convictions that had happened, including money laundering, charges of money laundering on him. There were allegations that linked him to a plot to assassinate the then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Of course, he had his differences with Sheikh Hasina, and Sheikh Hasina is not here, is not in Bangladesh right now. So what are the possibilities? Who can come to power in Bangladesh? Who at least we can at least look up? Definitely, I would not want Jamaat-e-Islami to come to power in Bangladesh and then take an anti-India stance. Now, over the past 1 year, in fact, Bangladesh is the higher courts have acquitted him in all cases, that's including the 2004 grenade attack at the Zia Orphanage Trust, that with regards to the graft case, now effectively removing the legal barriers to his political comeback. So that is the reason why till now he was behind the scenes. Now he's there in front of you. In fact, he's likely to take over, in fact. And widely seen as the BNP's de facto leader, his return marked a
Yes, sir.
significant.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I would please request you to stay on with me as I have more inputs coming in. Now, Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami has raised serious concerns over the ongoing announcement of election results from Thursday's parliamentary polls. Early Friday morning, Assistant Secretary General Hassanul Mahbub Zubair alleged that certain officials linked to the Election Commission were deliberately delaying the declaration of results in several constituencies. Speaking to reporters at the Election Commission building in Dhaka's Agargaon, Zubair described the delays as abnormal and unusual, noting that vote counting began at 5 p.m. the previous day, yet many results remain pending well into the early hours. Ambassador Suresh K. Goyal is with us on the broadcast. Sir, before I ask this question, I would like to introduce a piece of information. Now, after the BNP-led coalition had won the 2001 general elections, widespread attacks targeted Hindu communities were seen as perceived supporters of the Awami League, and reports documented looting as well as arson, rapes and killings and forced displacement across multiple districts lasting months. And human rights groups including Amnesty International and local organizations linked these to BNP supporters as well as its allies. Now, the BNP has, of course, won with a thumping victory. Sir, do you think going forward the situation for the minorities in Bangladesh is going to get any better, considering that even in the run-up to the elections, attacks against Hindus kept happening?
Over the previous election, after which the BNP or Khaleda Zia's party, the suspicion about mass-scale attacks against the Hindu minorities was a different political landscape altogether. That was a political landscape where there was a clear kind of a rivalry between Sheikh Hasina's Awami League and the BNP, and there were the kind of divisions of people of a certain group, certain religion, etc., etc. They were the kind of suspicions, they were the kind of understanding that prevailed at that time in Bangladesh. I really will not go by that scenario in the current election, simply because one of the main tasks before Tarique Rahman now will be to consolidate his influence in the country. And also, if I can use the word heal, there has been sufficient polarization, there have been a huge deal of attacks against the minorities, and there is already that kind of fear in the country. And if that fear were to perpetuate, it would actually reflect quite adversely on Bangladesh, particularly when they are looking at the USA to come to their support, to invest, etc., etc. So therefore, I would say that landscape, the political landscape is very, very different. If Tarique Rahman is a mature political leader, as we think that he is, we have already begun to build our connections with him, the links with him, and he understands also the kind of impact it will make in the neighborhood. I really would think that that kind of a scenario may not repeat this time. However, keeping all the options open, if that does happen, it is bad news. But I don't think it is going to repeat. This is my personal assessment. And number two, you see, if in future BNP has to consolidate its power and to marginalize the Jamaat-e-Islami, which is the main contender for power within Bangladesh, they will have to take on board the minorities and particularly the supporters of Awami League. The voting percentage, even though it is quoted to be 60%, certain other assessments are that it is around 50% voting in Bangladesh.
Yes, sir.
Clearly indicated that a large chunk of people who are supporting Awami League, they have not come out to vote. That is my understanding. And therefore, to bring all those people together, my expectation is that Tarique Rahman may open up the political parties, the political playground in Bangladesh, even to Awami League. So completely different kind of a scenario, Medha, I would think. And rather than thinking of the worst possible, I would rather take a positive outlook with the current scenario. Medha.
Sir, I would please request you to stay on with me. Ousted former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has launched a scathing attack on Bangladesh's February 12, 2026 parliamentary elections, branding them a well-planned farce and demanding their immediate cancellation. In a strongly worded statement released late Thursday through the Awami League, her party, which was barred from participating, Hasina described the polls conducted under the interim government led by Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus as, quote, voterless, illegal and unconstitutional, end quote. Mr. Arvind Singh Tejawat, sir, I would like to come across to you on this. Sir, after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, of course, her party was disbanded and banned from contesting this year's elections, and now we're seeing that BNP has won this year's election. Sir, going forward, what exactly lies next for the Awami League as well as for the voters of the party who did wish to align with this party, in your opinion, sir?
Right, Meera. Here we need to think wisely. Since the India given the shelter to the Sheikh Hasina, it doesn't mean that the Sheikh Hasina was completely pro-India. We need to think that the Sheikh Hasina, she was maintaining a balance between China and India. So if we say that the Sheikh Hasina was a totally friend of India, then I suppose this one is not a true story. Of course, the Indian governments and the diplomat was having a practice or the habit to work with the Sheikh Hasina government. And of course, the India was not having as much good communication with the opposition, especially with the BNP, because the BNP considered as a pro-Pakistan. So that's why that was the only reason that the diplomat could not maintain a good relationship with the other opposition of Bangladesh. It doesn't mean that the Sheikh Hasina-led government was very much in favor to the India. Of course, India was doing good with the Sheikh Hasina government. Now you see that Tarique Rahman Saab, I suppose a few months back, he clearly stated that BNP is not in a favor that if the Awami League is not contesting in elections. It means, and that was the real, it was a very much matured statement given by him in a past few months. He stated one or twice only, and then after he kept quiet. So in that case, all the Awami voters, they shifted to the BNP. So it was a very mature political statement. And I don't think that Tarique Rahman Saab will do anything which will give an impression that Tarique Rahman Saab is willing to settle or to go for the revenge with the Awami League people. So I don't think that Tarique Rahman Saab will give that impression. On the other hand, we need to think that the Bangladesh, especially for the Bangladeshi voters, in a period of anarchism, we had an impression that the minorities and especially the Hindus are being killed by the people over there. So we might have an impression that the Bangladeshi people are having a communal mindset, but this election has proven that the Bangla people are not communal. They chosen the BNP, not the another more extremist Jamaat-e-Islami kind of parties. And we need to think that what the student they did, and then after that political vacuum being occupied by the communal forces, so we need to think very wisely. And if any pro-Pakistan government is leading the Bangladesh, then it's not a problem for us. The major problem for us, if any government is doing anything in a favor of China, because China is a bigger challenge for us in Bangladesh, not the Pakistan. So I think let's hope for the good. And I know that I'm having an impression, of course, officially the India didn't pass any statement, and India didn't given any impression that India is doing anything against the coming government. But I hope that the Indian deep state must be active during the election, And definitely you can see the result for whatever we are having at the moment. So let's hope for the good, and let's see that how the things turn in. And there is no permanent friend and there is no permanent enemy in a politics and a diplomacy. So that's why I hope that in the coming days we'll be having a good relationship with the Tarique Rahman led government. Over to you, Meena.
All right, sir. I would please request you to stay on with me. Now, according to reports, the Bangladesh Election Commission's official results website remains inaccessible. The Election Commission's official result website became non-functional shortly after polling closed and remains offline as of Friday morning. Election officials have not issued a statement explaining the outage or providing a restoration timeline. Ms. Joita Basu is still with us on the broadcast. Ma'am, now ahead of the national polls, the BNP had shared a document that detailed its vision for 2030. And in this it said, and I'm quoting, with respect to foreign relations, topmost priority will be given to the national interest of Bangladesh. The BNP will build up special relations with Muslim Ummah and neighboring countries. Do you think in any way that under the leadership of Tarique Rahman, if he is said to be the next Prime Minister, of course, we are going to witness, Bangladesh getting further closer to Pakistan, especially at the cost of India?
Well, Tarique Rahman has already talked about maintaining equidistance between with Pakistan and India. So let us hope we can hold him to his word. But having said that, we also know, you see, this has nothing to do with Ummah and all. When they are talking about Ummah, they are trying to please the hardline Islamist crowd, most of which has voted for Jamaat, which has, I guess, around like 60-70 seats, which is not too bad if you ask me, given the rise in terms of the rise of Islamist forces. So frankly, this is not about Ummah as such. It is about how close Tarique Rahman has been to Pakistan, and until, say, the last time his mother was Prime Minister, he was very, very close. It has nothing to do with religion and all. I mean, maybe it's vaguely, but the fact is that given that India has done...
Ma'am, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I'm actually running a little short on time. With that, I would like to thank all my guests for being with me on this broadcast. Stepping into a short break right now.
MDH कसूरी मेथी लाजवाब है स्वाद और सुगंध इसकी लाजवाब है
अगर MDH कसूरी मेथी नहीं डाला
तो खाली हाथ मलते रह जाओगे
एक एक पत्ता हाथ से चुना स्वाद और सुगंध जगाए कई गुना
MDH
कार इंश्योरेंस डन
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया
नहीं
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता
मतलब
अगर पॉलिसी बाजार से कार इंश्योरेंस कंपेयर करके लेता तो 12,000 रुपए तक बचा सकता था इसलिए तू ज़ीब्रा तो नहीं है तू है
गधा
काइंड ऑफ
MDH का किचन किंग किचन में हो तो हम सब कुछ बना सकते हैं। बैंगन का भरता, आलू गोभी, भिंडी मसाला और भी बहुत कुछ।
MDH जब घर का कमाने वाला चला जाता है तो वक्त के साथ शायद उसके जाने का दुख कम हो जाए, लेकिन एक मिडिल क्लास फैमिली फाइनेंशियली टूट जाती है। फैमिली के लिए अपना फर्ज निभाओ। पॉलिसी बाजार पर 2 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 700 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर। MDH गरम मसाला, असली मसालों से भरा हूँ मैं,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
कार इंश्योरेंस डन
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया
नहीं
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता कार नई हो या पुरानी पॉलिसी बाजार पे कंपेयर करके खरीदो और 30,000 तक बचाओ। इसलिए तू ज़ेब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है
गधा।
काइंड ऑफ।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
This week on the roundtable, we are taking a look at the danger our country faces from the number of Chinese imports that have been literally dumped onto our country. Our economy is at great risk. What can the budget do about it?
The budget is like an iron dome. It protects our factories, it protects Indian capacities, and we need to defend them from the onslaught that the Chinese economy is doing on India. And it has reached huge proportions, so there is a need for an urgent step to be taken by the union budget.
What I feel is not single measure, there can be multiple measures, but the best way to stop Chinese imports is by raising tariffs. History has shown it. We must raise tariffs as per the WTO agreements, and we have the limit of 50.4% average weighted tariff, whereas we are imposing hardly 6%. So there is a huge gap between what is the bound rate and what is the actual effective rate.
I think we should strengthen our industrial policy and see to it that our PLI scheme also is interweaved with quality in a very strengthened manner, so that we are back on the path of having the QCOs into the country to a great extent of sectors and pushing them very hard.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I am Medha Sharan and you're watching Newsx. Our top focus remains Bangladesh. Now the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or the BNP's Tarique Rahman claimed election victory on Friday after the first polls since a deadly 2024 uprising. By midnight, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party had taken an unassailable lead over the Jamaat and its allies, which was trailing with 38 seats in the contest to elect a new government to replace the Mohammad Yunus-led interim government. Yunus took charge after the collapse of the Hasina-led Awami League dispensation, a party banned from contesting the poll and its symbol, the boat, missing from ballot papers for the first time in 30 years. With that said, let's now take a look at the manifesto promises that the Bangladesh Nationalist Party made. So now in this year's elections, a record 60.69% voter turnout was recorded, and the BNP has won these elections with a landslide victory. Now these are the BNP's election promises. Introduce family car for monthly cash assistance to poor and marginalized families nationwide. So building on its economic agenda, the BNP has promised a monthly cash assistance to poor families and marginalized families in Bangladesh. Remember, now the BNP is being led by Tarique Rahman, who will of course take hold as the next Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Implement farmer card system to ensure fair prices, subsidies, credit and insurance for farmers. Now again targeting a very important electoral segment, which are the farmers in Bangladesh. Now remember, Bangladesh is also an agricultural country, and it will implement farmer card system to ensure fair prices, subsidies as well as credits and insurance for farmers. Now the BNP is a centre-right party and has made all these poll promises. It is coming back into power after almost 25 years. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party was last in power in the year 2001 and it was in a coalition with the Jamaat-e-Islami. Adopt zero tolerance, top-down approach to eliminate corruption and restore clean politics in Bangladesh. Now, widely the belief under Sheikh Hasina has been that her party was largely corrupt, and because of which now the BNP has promised a corruption-free society. Impose 10-year term limits for Prime Minister to prevent power concentration and promote democracy. So, another one of BNP's promises is to impose a 10-year term limit. Create jobs through vocational training, new industries and overseas employment opportunities. Now remember, unemployment in Bangladesh is a bit high at the moment, and the BNP's one of the main promises that the BNP has made, of course, is to create jobs through vocational training as well as new industries. Boost economy via foreign investments, export growth and establish Bangladesh as a regional e-commerce hub. So again, a focus on the economy. The BNP is saying that it will boost the economy via bringing in more financial foreign investments into the country. Improve law and order and restore peace and stability to ensure safety for all citizens in Bangladesh. Another one of BNP's pillars remains improving the law and order situation in the country. This is one of its election promises. If it were to win the elections, and now BNP of course has won this year's elections. So we can see a large focus on the economy in these poll manifesto. Reform healthcare by recruiting 1 lakh workers and ending hospital corridor treatment forever. Again, one of the main critical promises by the BNP this year was to reform the healthcare sector in Bangladesh. Plant 250 million trees and achieve 20% renewable energy by 2030 for green future. Another focus remains green energy, phasing out fossil fuels. Now plant 250 million trees and achieve a renewable energy target. So again, the BNP's focus largely has been improving the law and order situation, uprooting corruption, as well as providing people with unemployment. Secure fair water share from transboundary rivers and ensure strong border diplomacy. Now remember, water is a key pillar and has often been some sort of a contention between both India and Bangladesh. So these were the BNP's promises if it were to come to power, and now of course Tarique Rahman is said to be the next Prime Minister of Bangladesh after his party secured a thumping victory in this year's elections. Joining me on the broadcast is Ambassador Prateep Kapoor, a former diplomat, as well as Major General Sudhakarji, a senior geopolitical and strategic defense expert, as well as Ms. Shruti Das Gupta, a foreign affairs expert. Ambassador Prateep Kapoor, I would first like to come across to you, sir. The BNP has won this year's parliamentary elections with a landslide victory after almost 25 years. The last time it was in power was back in 2001 along with the Jamaat-e-Islami. The Awami League, of course, has been banned and was not present on the ballot papers. Sir, what does the BNP's victory mean, firstly, for the people of Bangladesh?
Thank you, Megha. It's a positive step forward in many ways for Bangladesh and for the people of Bangladesh. It could be a turning point. If the BNP were to try to fulfill most of its election manifesto promises, then it can result in some good for the people of Bangladesh, because the problems which are facing Bangladesh are absolutely enormous. They are too difficult for the country and the people. So till they really get down to looking at the problems and then finding solutions and implementing those solutions, it is going to be a very difficult future for Bangladesh. So in terms of the following aspects particularly, if I have to look at Bangladesh in a holistic perspective, The population is very, very large. The radicalization has increased phenomenally over the years. The jihadi Islam, the political Islam have taken hold at the grassroots level. Persecution of minorities has gone up very, very significantly. Lynching of Hindus, attacks on the temples, destruction of the places of worship, raping of women, confiscation of Hindu land, farms, houses, driving them away, etc. It's a very serious. Also, the Christians are being persecuted similarly. So any of the minorities are not secure. Now, so those are very important aspects. Now, there was one, rapid armed battalion of Bangladesh, which was put under sanctions by the US government. And from Washington, we had worked very hard as part of the American Hindu Coalition to lift those sanctions, because the rapid armed battalion was sort of a break on the radicalization, a break on the raping of Hindu women, etc. They were taking quick action under Sheikh Hasina. Now, if you destroy the, already the population percentage of the Hindus, Christians and other minorities in Bangladesh has decreased very significantly. Figures vary from about 22 to 25% at the time of 1947 to about 9% now. So you can imagine how much of conversions have taken place, how much of people have been driven out. There's a large population of Bangladeshi Hindus even in the US who are part of the American Hindu Coalition, and how much of terror has been spread in their minds and their existence. So that is not the way for any country to go ahead. There is possibility for Bangladesh in the sense the resources are quite limited, land is quite limited, and there is a lot of pressure on Bangladesh from CIA, from the US, from China, from various neighbors. Now, if they decide on having a good relationship with India, that is one way forward for them. India helped them in their independence in 71. After that, the sort of reaction to that has been very negative in the sense that they have gone more towards Pakistan. If they become a clone of Pakistan, the future of Bangladesh is very, very bleak. If they ally with Pakistan and ISI, then they are doomed absolutely. I can say that very clearly. And if they try to, challenge these forces of China and Pakistan and ISI and CIA and take the help of India, like Bhutan decided at one point of time that they were going to form a very strong alliance with India in terms of utilizing the water resources for the benefit of the people of Bhutan. And Bhutan today has the highest per capita income of all the South Asian countries and beyond that also. So if Bangladesh does something similar, because we are linked with Bangladesh, we surround Bangladesh on three sides completely. Now, without a good relationship with India, it is very, very difficult. If I am a leader of Bangladesh...
Sir, I would please request you to stay on with me. I have more inputs coming in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended warm congratulations to Tarique Rahman, the leader of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, following the party's decisive victory in Bangladesh's 13th Jatiya Sangsad parliamentary elections held on February 12, 2016. Now, in a post on X, Prime Minister Modi wrote, and I quote, "I convey my warm congratulations to Mr. Tarique Rahman on leading BNP to a decisive victory in the parliamentary elections in Bangladesh. This victory shows the trust of the people of Bangladesh in your leadership. India will continue to stand in support of a democratic, progressive and inclusive Bangladesh. I look forward to working with you to strengthen our multifaceted relations and advance our common development goals." End quote. All right, Prime Minister Modi now has extended his congratulations to the BNP chief on his thumping victory. All right, with that, I would like to bring in Major General Sudhakar ji into this conversation. Sir, now the Prime Minister also has congratulated the BNP. Now, Hasina was largely, of course, seen as pro-India, and after her ouster, ties between India and Bangladesh have been strained under the helm of the Yunus-led interim government. So, do you think now the ties between India and the BNP could improve? What does the win of Tarique Rahman mean for India?
Good morning, Medad. Thank you for inviting me for your morning show. Good question, but there are multiple sub-parts in your question. First and foremost thing, we need to look at the larger picture. Because whatever happens in the larger picture willy-nilly will impact the smaller picture. The smaller picture, I'm talking of the issues which you have raised, the India-Bangladesh relationship. Because of lack of correct expression, I'm calling it a smaller picture. They are substantive, meaningful as far as India is concerned. The larger picture is the geopolitical churn, the ongoing conflict. Pandemic impact is yet to have eased out. Price rise in fuel, fertilizer, and food still going on. We know what is happening in America. It's leading towards a kind of unstable, I call it a political civil war in America. That has to be seen. And the transatlantic relationship has fallen apart. The conflict in Middle East, no way to find a permanent lasting solution. So under this premise, we need to look at Bangladesh from the perspective of the national interest of India. What is national interest? How is it impacted? That is the core issue. The national interest of India is impacted because it is one of the countries which once upon a time used to be a part and parcel, integral part of undivided British India. It is the same people of Bengal. So people, unfortunately, they don't understand the difference between West Bengal or the Bangladeshis and the Pakistanis. Bangladeshis that cannot be equated with Pakistanis. That was the main reason for liberation of Bangladesh in 1971. They are not characteristically and also, I would say culturally, they have no linkage except for the religion. The religion also, Bangladeshi Muslims, they speak Bengali and they are inclined towards a very liberal kind of a Sufism, I would say. Whereas the Pakistanis, they are oriented towards the Arabic and the Persian culture. So why am I highlighting this aspect? I am highlighting this aspect. That was the primary reason of division of Pakistan, thereby busting the old myth of two-nation theory. And that's how Bangladesh was liberated. So when you highlight this aspect, how is it manifesting today? It is manifesting today through the Jamaitis. The Jamaitis have made deep inroads. They may be trailing with 38 seats and they have a coalition member of 11 parties that are there with them. But to give the sanctity of recognition to Jamaiti in a country like Bangladesh is the central point of security challenge as far as India is concerned. And it is happening with enormous efforts from as if the hell has broken loose. Pakistan has gone hammer and tong in mobilizing ISI, its armed forces, and also lifted the host of rules and regulations which were prevailing since liberation of Bangladesh and banning all kinds of activities. Jamaiti also was banned, but now along with the Jamaitis, there are a host of others, the convicts who have been released from the jail. There is a Rohingya Brotherhood Alliance. There is also the Lashkar-e-Toiba who have landed up there. The Jaish-e-Mohammed is there. The Hamas footprint is seen visibly. And also you have the Hezbollah, the Al-Qaeda, the ISIS. It doesn't seem, it is turning out to be a new epicenter of the global terrorism. And all this is happening close to a very sensitive stage. I won't call it a chicken's corridor, I'll call it a Siliguri corridor. That Siliguri corridor is a narrow stretch which is connecting the 7 states of the northeast of India. And more than that, the worst thing which is happening is people like Yunus, they go vocal. Despite all the facilities of socio-economic development we have extended, 7.8 billion worth of line of credit given to them, and host of connectivity projects that we have undertaken, and look at the number of people from Bangladesh coming for medical treatment. It is almost, I would say, less than 50% the cost they would pay otherwise in Singapore and other places. So looking at it from that perspective, I personally feel there are a lot of issues which the BNP has to consider, because geography, everything else can be changed. Geography cannot be changed. This is a major issue which they have to acknowledge. But will Pakistan, when I talk about Jamaati, it is an extended arm of Pakistan, which Pakistan is trying to create in our eastern backyard or eastern flank, thereby pose threat to India's security. And when you talk about this, then you have got to be mindful of certain things. We have elections in West Bengal around the corner, sometime in March, I suppose. Then we have number of states coming up. The radicalization is in full swing. Given the population of 170 million coming to 17 odd crores, you find that this election is okay, it's a welcome development, but non-inclusion of Awami League, no matter what the reason is not a very healthy sign of democracy that the world has to take cognizance of. And India has done a good thing by not sending the
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I would please request you to stay on with me. I have more inputs coming in. Now, the Chief Election Commissioner Ram Nasiruddin reportedly said the Election Commission has quote-unquote nothing to hide and is committed to ensuring a transparent electoral process. He noted that the Election Commission only counts results sent by returning officers with their signatures. He said there is no game of manipulation here. We are simply adding and announcing cumulative results. Ms. Shruti Dasgupta, if I could come to you before we wrap up this bulletin, ma'am. The BNP has won after almost 25 years. It has come back to power. The Awami League, of course, has been disbanded and banned from elections. Ma'am, firstly, what does the win of Tarique Rahman signify? What does it mean for the people of Bangladesh? And secondly, what does the win of Tarique Rahman mean for India as well?
Well, from the Battle of Begums, now it has moved down to the Dark Prince, who's come forth. He was also called as the Khamba Prince for his corruption in election polls. In fact, although he's been whitewashed and he's been given a clean chit in a really fast manner, which would probably presume that there are powers beyond just Bangladeshi courts who wanted Tarique Rahman to be in place where he is today. He also, in the US communique, at one point of time, he was called as a representative of a kleptocratic government. So that should give you an acute idea of what Bangladesh is headed towards. This man was known for running a Hawa Mahal or Hawa Bungalow, or Bungalow it was called, where he would take 10% commission when he was not even the PM of the nation. His mother was, and he ran he was the power center. His mother was the front at that time. So there are, if you think Bangladeshi National Party winning is a win for Bangladesh, not really. It did not win the last time this man had any access to power. So that is one unfortunate reality. The second unfortunate reality for Bangladesh is that whether it was Jamaat-e-Islami or BNP, both of them have taken an anti-India stance. So either of them coming to power would not mean regularization of or even normalization of relationships with India and Indian forces, because the July revolution that they have been championing about has a very distinct anti-India flavor, and they have tried to milk it for its political worth. And this is what has brought him to power. Neither of them spoke of strategic relationship with India. Neither of them said that India is not as bad as been projected by the people who were moving the narratives behind the July revolutions. Both these parties were absolutely anti-Hindu, anti-minority in their campaign speeches. They were very clear that Hindus should not go and vote, Hindus should not be part of the electoral process, Hindus should be disenfranchised. So leave Awami League, they were not even concerned about the 10% minority that is left in their nation. So this victory is a victory of probably a democratic process restarting in Bangladesh, but they really had no choice. It was a choice between the devil and the deep blue sea. And they probably thought they can swim well, so let's pick the deep blue sea and not go with Jamaat-e-Islami, that is absolutely radical, who at one point of time tried to disenfranchise Muslim women also from the electoral process. So this is a sad choice that they had to make. So what does India have to do? Our MEA had gone and met Tarique Rahman and shook hands, and all that entire photo op had happened. So probably we hope for better relations with them. We hope that he would not be that particularly skewed towards Pakistan as he has been, because he is now, he fought and won an election with his alliance partner. Both of them had used to win elections on the basis that Pakistan is our friend. So we do not know where this narrative is going forward. But I do hope that they do not go back to being completely skewed towards what Pakistan wants them to be or do, and does not allow their land and space be used by Chinese influence either, which has been trying to find the space while Yunus's illegal interim government was in place. So for me, as an Indian sitting on this side of the border, I'm watching and waiting whether this Khamba prince is going to go back to his older days, siphoning off money, which I believe FBI and the anti-corruption agencies in Bangladesh found to be worth 20 billion. So he's known for taking kickbacks, he's known for siphoning money off. He's come in family to be the new ruler of Bangladesh, but and all of these parties have supported the 84-point referendum, which was also voted on, and that has distinctly for the lack of a better word, demonic connotations for the future of Bangladesh, because it means that any future elections will be held under a external as well as internal overview, which means that there will forever be external or internal oversee and influence on where Bangladesh's future is headed. So Bangladesh went from being a independent nation to a puppet nation, depending on who's holding the strings. As of now, my feelings are it is pro-US, but I hope, and it stays pro-US because they seem to be better than what the Chinese and Pakistani nexus would be for India. But I do not see a very positive outcome with Tarique Rahman leading the front. Obviously better than what a Jamaat-e-Islami would have been, because they would have ensured that any voice of dissent or even any option of secular existence would be demolished. Tarique Rahman has at least given lip service to the fact that all religions will be respected, but I do not have very good hopes for what is going to come through from Bangladesh towards India.
All right, ma'am, I would please request you to stay on with me. Now, BNP Chairman Tarique Rahman asked that the party's victory celebrations be deferred as a mark of respect for his mother, Khalida Zia, who died before the election. Instead of holding festivities, the party has urged supporters to offer prayers for her after the Friday congregational prayers. Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor is with us on the broadcast. Sir, now of course after the BNP's win back in 2001 along with the Jamaat-e-Islami, which it was in coalition with, reports of attacks on Hindus was reported. They were seen largely as a voter base of Sheikh Hasina's Awami League. So now with the BNP said to take over the reins of the country, do you think the situation for the minorities is going to get better, or is it going to stay the same, considering the BNP's checkered history, and also the fact that even days before the polling, in fact even the run up to the polls, violence against Hindus was continuing, and the response rather from the regime in place, that is the Yunus regime, till now has been rather muted.
Thank you, Medha. The situation is very, very bad inside Bangladesh, both for Bangladesh and for the minorities. Now, the radicalization which has happened is also very extreme. So, at the current position, it's a very bad situation for the neighbors also, and it's a very critical situation for a country like India, which surrounds Bangladesh on three sides. Now, to have such a large population of radicalized Islamic jihadis and Muslims, as my previous panelists have mentioned so eloquently, it's like it's like another created already, another epicenter of terrorism. So to deal with such things, if you sort of are able to do it a little sensitively in a balancing act way and prevent them from, prevent further deterioration in their current situation or in our relations with them. That itself will be some achievement. It's not going to be easy because the radicalization is too intense. But if they have any sort of understanding about where the path is for the future, they have to understand that, mistreating of minorities, the corruption which has been mentioned by our distinguished panelist also, is very, very excessive. I remember I've been dealing with some work with the Bangladesh Central Bank, and overnight tens of millions of dollars disappeared and there's no trace from the Central Bank of Bangladesh. So many things like that keep on happening. Now, they have some skills, they are good in garment manufacturing, they have other resources which they can sort of try to utilize for gainful employment. So there are some possibilities for it to continue under a semblance of positive existence. But if they decide to do otherwise, which is give further impetus to the radical elements like the Jamaat and the other ISI people operating there, and try to go the Pakistan way and not realize what is good for them, I think it's going to be a very, very impossible situation for the people of Bangladesh, because the Hindus, if you see their track record, a large number of them were bureaucrats, senior executives in private companies, professors in the universities. They were bringing in a lot of the intellectual element of Bangladesh. Their national anthem is still a Tagore poem of Bangladesh. So they have a lot of cultural pride, linguistic pride, and other aspects. So if they revert to that, aspect of a positive existence and not go further down the hole, then it is good for them, it is good for India, it is good for the world. But if they do not do that, but if they currently, sort of expand the ambit of their relations with Pakistan or with China, it's going to be very bad. So US also is not a very positive impact for India as far as we are concerned, because they have their own vested interest of taking some island and creating their own footprint there and controlling the government. But Yunus was like a CIA implant there, and he was also very, very negative for India, and he didn't do anything good for India.
Sir,
Tarique Rahman
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I have a breaking input coming in. Now, Pakistan's President Asif Ali Zardari has congratulated Tarique Rahman and the Bangladesh Nationalist Party on their landslide victory in the 13th Jatiya Sangsad parliamentary elections held on February 12th. In a post on X, the president facilitated Rahman on the BNP's decisive win and extended congratulations to the people of Bangladesh for conducting successful and peaceful polls. The message reads, and I quote, President Ali Zardari facilitates Tarique Rahman on BNP's landslide victory and congratulates the people of Bangladesh on the successful peaceful polls. Pakistan reaffirms strong support for democratic partnership and shared progress ahead, end quote. Major General Sudhakar ji is still with us on the broadcast. Sir, now after the ouster, we've seen ties between both Pakistan as well as Bangladesh strengthen, while ties with India have strained under Yunus. Ties have improved. There's defense cooperation as well. Flights resumed after a hiatus of 14 years. Do you think ties between both these countries, Pakistan and Bangladesh, will now continue on an upward trajectory?
Yeah, I'm glad you raised the question. I'm a military man. I have been trained to think for the worst eventuality. The worst eventuality is that is going to happen, and it is happening, and it is happening in a big manner. So to understand what implication will it have, we need to understand the larger picture. The larger picture is that look at our Western neighbor. Imran Khan is in jail, and Shehbaz Sharif is the puppet. He's been not elected, he's selected and put in the chair as a prime minister. So similar thing, there is a bigger thing which is happening because from the global perspective, America or no America, I would say the deep state of America, they want to actually have BNP or some means of democratic signature and elect a person who will listen to them. Why should otherwise Rahman come after so many long years to Bangladesh? knowing fully well neither will people accept him. What Shruti covered, I tend to agree with her, what she said. So since he has come, there are some vested interest which is going to be derived out of this. The bigger picture in summation, or rather conceptually, if I may say, there is an intersection of competing sphere of influence in Bangladesh. Intersection. What is the intersection? Who are the spheres of influence? On one hand, you have China, which has penetrated into Bangladesh for more than 30 years. It has committed $38 billion and 20 billion, close to 20 billion or maybe little more, has already been applied on the ground in form of bridge across Padma. You have a pipeline, you have national highway, you have railway line, you have, there is a place called Ketua. So there the naval dockyard for the submarines is there. As we are talking, there are 2 submarines of China already docking there. You have another place called Qutubdiya. There is 1 submarine of China there. And the Bangladesh Navy is one of the few navies of the least or developing countries in the world, which is being converted into 3-dimensional force. Even bigger countries, we also don't have that kind of full-fledged capability as India. So look at for every expenditure, the stock exchange of Bangladesh has been taken over by a consortium of banks, state-owned enterprises, the banking sector of China. We also went there bidding for it. So what am I trying to say? That penetration of Bangladesh has gone in. When you said that Bangladesh is an agrarian country, yes, I do agree with you. Be mindful of the fact what changes, impact the climate change is having. Today, when you check up the statistics, you find 11 to 12% agriculture, 36 to 37% industry, and services sector is close to a little more than 50%. So if that is the kind of this thing, they still buy rice from India, by the way. So when I'm saying all this, what I mean to say is that China and Pakistan is a deadly combination. I call it as the devil's triangle, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and China. Why am I highlighting this? Recently, 11 times in past 1.5 years, 11 times, more than 11 times, Bangladeshi delegations have gone to China. They have most probably have signed a deal with China directly for JF-17 Thunder. It is a 4th generation aircraft. Once they buy that aircraft, the entire ecosystem of strategic dependency is going to remain eternal. They cannot actually, wriggle out in future. It is not going to be 20 or 30 years. It will be for almost 100 years. That is the kind of dependency they will have. At the same time, they are buying aircraft from that is called J-10C, which is being developed in collaboration between China and Pakistan, and that is going to come. People may argue that it is not going to come any soon. Pakistan is in doldrums, their economy is in a weak state, but every such agreement, we need to keep our eyes and ears open. Pakistan is delivering the trainer aircraft. Trainer aircraft is called a Mushak. It is coming on post-haste basis, urgently. Because they're giving the pilots, they're giving the training schedule, they're giving the all kinds of spare parts. These things are coming. Turkey is making an industrial corridor. And the land which had been earmarked for India during Sheikh Hasina's time in Chittagong tract area, that has already been given to China to make an industrial kind of a SEZ sort of thing. They are manufacturing drones or started the process of developing drones and also artillery guns, etc., etc. So these are the, Qatar is providing support, Turkey is making drones. This is becoming an international rivalry over here in a small, tiny country like Bangladesh, which is suffering the radicalization, which is also being challenged by the climate change. The Rohingyas have come in. It is going to become a total hodgepodge and conglomeration of challenges in the world order. What is America has come in for? America has come in to push back China. I would compliment the American authorities, better late than never. They have woken up. They have woken up. They have realized that no superpower would like to lose their supremacy and authority. They're trying to give a pushback to China as much as possible. But will they succeed? I doubt. So therefore, how is it going to impact India? India should be prepared to draw the red lines accurately, must look at the Pakistan, the real type of terrorism which is flowing from the flood of terrorism is from Pakistan. But we need to, as we are talking, there is a meeting taking place in Mexico of FATF. Is India doing enough to raise enough of shouting or making noise
Major
there
General,
in
sir,
FATF
I'm so
to
sorry
take
to interrupt
Pakistan
you.
into the ambit of that grey list or blacklist, put pressure on Pakistan, things will ease out. Number two, draw the red lines in Bangladesh,
Major
have your
General, sir,
countermeasures,
I'm
counter
so
spending
sorry
in
to
place.
interrupt you. I'm having these breaking inputs coming in now. In a post shared on social media celebrating its performance, the party said it was preparing to take charge. The BNP media cell said the Bangladesh Nationalist Party is said to form the government after winning the majority of seats. Before I quickly wrap up this bulletin, my last question, ma'am, to you, Shruti Das Gupta. The Awami League has ruled, ma'am, for the past 15 years and it wasn't present on the ballot papers this year, and a substantial segment of the electorate that aligned with the party was this time politically excluded as well. In your opinion, what lies next for the Awami League? Do you think the party will be perhaps rehabilitated and reintegrated back into Bangladesh's democratic politics?
Unfortunately, my answer to that question, Medha, would be an emphatic no. I don't think Awami League is going to find purchase in the new landscape of Bangladeshi politics, because it was unable to even get its ban removed so that an inclusive election could be pulled off. There is a significant amount of population that is angry. The ICT judgment, although illegal, has completely ensured that Awami League cannot come back, at least under Awami League banner. Maybe those politicians can come back, those promises, those people can come back under another name, but the Awami League that led the 72-71 liberation war is no longer going to be present in Bangladesh, and its leader, both the parties that have campaigned, they've campaigned for return of Sheikh Hasina so that they can prosecute her according to the ICT judgment and the rules and regulations of Bangladesh. India has noted their request for return, but we've not commented on it as of now. I don't think we will be handing over Sheikh Hasina to them, because we do know that this is a politically charged crime that has been put under her name. But what we do know is that Awami League is not coming back. The Chhatro Shibir and the NCP and the others have already split. The Chhatro Shibir, of whose that gentleman was shot and another uprising almost took place in his name, they have aligned with BNP. So BNP is going to continue to be in power for a very long time with the current coalition and statistics that are looking in its favor. But because of the referendum, I'm going to presume that it is going to be only for these 2 terms. I hope in the meantime, the Jamaat-e-Islami and their extremely fundamental extremist ideology ensures that the people of Bangladesh realize exactly what kind of party Jamaat-e-Islami is. We have seen that they are very, very anti-Bangla. They are more on Urdu based. They're exactly the reason why the 71 liberation war was fought. They were part of the perpetrators of the atrocities on the Bangladeshi people, and they're still part of the current political scenario. After Yunus came into the power, he was the one who lifted that particular ban on Jamaat-e-Islami and allowed them to be part of this current election. So Jamaat-e-Islami, if they can come back, Awami League may come back, but not in the immediate future. As of now, Awami League has to be put to bed, and any connections of her son Sajid or Hasina have to be put to rest, because they are now called by UN themselves as well as Bangladesh perpetrators of mass crime in the protests that have happened. Until unless such a political charge is taken away from them, and they've been cleared of all the wrongdoings, or at least partly cleared of the wrongdoings, they will not be able to find political purchase or legal standing in the nation of Bangladesh. So I don't think Awami League is back. The 40 million people that were the core voters of Awami League have had to choose between BNP and Jamaat-e-Islami. That is the reason why BNP has won with such a landslide. They have been given the blessings of the people of Awami League because they did not have the choice of picking the people that they could vote for. They are obviously, there is a provision in the referendum that if the government is not performing, they can again hold a no confidence, public can hold a no confidence motion against the people, against its government, and force elections. It sounds good on paper, very difficult to enact when it actually comes to a nation of millions and millions of people on ground. Having to have them vote for a change is going to be it's going to be as good as having an election all over again. So it is not a fun place where Bangladesh is, as are my esteemed guests, panelists have shown, that there is a larger threat at play, not just in terms of what is happening in Bangladesh, but what Bangladesh is going to be, not just for India, but the great global south as well as the world itself. We just hope and pray it does not become the next hub of international terrorism for which Pakistan was known for. Maybe it, with the Jamaat-e-Islami and their words coming through, maybe we are looking at another Pakistan 2.0, which it was in the name of East Pakistan. So hopefully that is not going to find fruition, and that is the only prayer that most Indians have, because as of now, under the referendum, which is not as yet declared won, but the inclining is that 70% people voted yes for it, which means that Bangladesh is no longer going to adhere to its Bengali identity. They are now going to call themselves Bangladeshi rather than Bengali, a complete decoupling of its historical roots from what its Indic identity used to be, and thereby decoupling from India as a cultural identity beyond just this political game of to and fro that is happening. So I don't think, I hope Awami League finds its feet, but not in the immediate future.
All right, ma'am, I would please request you to stay on with me as I have more breaking inputs coming in. Awami League leader AFM Bahauddin Naseem says, and I quote, "These are one-sided elections announced by the illegal election commission of an illegal and unconstitutional government in Bangladesh. A section of the population of Bangladesh has been kept away from these elections. There is just one party in Bangladesh which is banned, Awami League." He added that there are no human rights in the country, no basic rights. There is just drama in the name of elections. Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, if I could come across to you, sir. Bangladesh, now the Jamaat-e-Islami is already, I think sad about the fact that they have lost these elections, and it's a very poor show. They've just recorded double-digit seats, below 50 in fact. I think it's clear that the Jamaat-e-Islami will of course be sitting in the opposition in this year's elections. Sir, after the result of this, election that has taken place in Bangladesh, what do you think is next for the Jamaat-e-Islami?
Well, Jamaat-e-Islami will continue to expand its footprint and to increase its interactions with Pakistan and to make it like Pakistan 2.0, the whole country. What we have to see is, one possibility for Sheikh Hasina is for India to say that we are going to ask the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Countries, to take charge of Sheikh Hasina and then let them decide what they want to do, because it will put the Muslim world into conflict with each other. Because if they try to hand her back to Bangladesh, where she's going to be, hanged or sort of prosecuted and not allowed to live, it will be a very difficult situation for the entire Muslim world. So instead of us trying to become answerable for Sheikh Hasina, we have to make the whole Muslim world answerable for Sheikh Hasina. So we just have to say that let the OIC take charge and talk to them beforehand that you want, and put it in writing also, that you want a very clear-cut, proper judicial process. What has been done is absolutely, wrong. Now, for various countries, and she spurned the overtures of the CIA and the others. So she was seen as a very difficult person to handle. She made some comments on the various social media also. Similarly, Imran Khan in Pakistan was absolutely put in the doghouse. So it's a game which is being played at a larger level by lots of countries without realizing the harm that is coming to them also. Because Islamic jihad and political, jihadi Islam and political Islam is a very big threat for Europe, for US also. So if they do not understand that these are very serious threat perceptions for those countries also, they will also suffer very soon, not in the long run or long term. So how to control that radicalization through Jamaat-e-Islami is going to be a very big challenge for Bangladesh and for US and for all the countries of the world and for the OIC also. Thank you, Meda.
All right, sir. I would please request you to stay on with me. In its first ever national election, the National Citizen Party, which was born out of the rebellion that overthrew Sheikh Hasina in 2024, has won at least 6 seats. The party ran candidates in collaboration with Jamaat-e-Islami, the majority of whom were in their 20s. NCP's victories signal a generational shift in Bangladeshi politics and demonstrate the electoral viability of coalition politics. Major General Sudhakar ji, sir, if I could come across to you. Now, sir, would you agree with this assessment that, of course, you know, China will be vying for influence in Bangladesh along with the United States, but China has, of course, a bigger and fatter checkbook than India. Do you agree with this assessment that if the BNP is, of course, to come to, I mean, if the BNP is, of course, there in power, which it will be, India and China will both try to outdo each other, you know, in a race for influence in the country, and the BNP would likely, most probably, make the most out of it?
It's a brilliant question by you, but I know I can make out you finding it difficult to frame the question. But be that as it may, you see, we have to accept a fact that America is no longer the superpower. It is a declining power, one. Number two, it will not stand the test of the competitive entry of multiple stakeholders into Bangladesh. Why is it coming to Bangladesh? Today, wherever America is showing its interest, behind that interest, they have got 4-5 couple of objectives. One, they want to make America great again. How does America become great again? America, as on today, is in serious debt, $38 trillion debt. And to serve the interest of that debt, they require $1 trillion, used close to $1 trillion annually. To run the country, they require $6 trillion. The revenue generated is $4 trillion. Okay, so there is a deficit of 2 trillion here, 1 trillion there, 3 trillions. How long are they going to keep printing dollars? The Congress has already exhausted all its limits. So therefore, what are they looking for? The CIA, as the master spy agency of USA, behind the facade of the exterior mandate, they have been given a hidden mandate. What is the hidden mandate? Anywhere there is oil, because oil market in the world is between 2.1 to 2.6 trillion US dollar. Oil, drugs, drug market is 1.8 to 2.1. Pharmaceutical, it's 1.4 to 1.6 trillion dollar. Then you have rare earth element, and I'm missing out something else. You have rare earth element. There is something else I'm missing out. So all these things put together, they are looking for defense industry. Defense industry is the largest, 2.1 to 2.4 trillion US dollar. Wherever there is a market to either buy and then sell to the world, or sell their product, which will actually contribute to strengthening the economy, is a good place. As far as Donald Trump is concerned, he is a business-minded person, and anyone who comes after them also is expected to have similar agendas. So they want to sell. Today, media says 72% of the defense hardware imported by Bangladesh are from China. I am saying it is 83%. This is based on my long study and research I have carried out for past 20 years. Close to 83% of military hardware imported by Bangladesh is from China, and Pakistan is importing close to 81%, particularly between 2020 to 2026, if you study the statistics closely. So if that be the kind of penetration and strategic dependence, then will USA be able to actually deflect or stand up or give a pushback to China? Today, Donald Trump and his team, they have started making noise to sell this aircraft, that gun, this gun to Bangladesh. Will they succeed? Will China give it up so easily? They already have penetrated into Bangladesh for past, if not more, between 2013 and 2016 for 13 long years. Will these 13 long years will go west for China? I don't think so. Therefore, the bigger picture is that sooner or later, USA will keep trying to give strategic pushback to China. They are unlikely to succeed because it's a declining power, because they cannot sustain such kind of expenses and meaningless kind of expenses. They may be looking for the gas 60 trillion cubic meter of gas which is available between Tripura and Bangladesh, where China has already laid the pipeline. They've started harvesting this gas, and it is going across towards Rakhine province, all along the western border of Myanmar. There is a pipeline which has already been laid, going right up to Ruli is a place, Sichuan province, and they have started supplying the gas. The gas is the best quality available in the world, the cheapest, and the transportation is being done through hydraulic pressure. Maybe America is looking for that. Maybe America is also looking for dominating the Bay of Bengal, because the Malacca Strait
I'm
lies
so
there.
sorry to interrupt you, but we're running a little short on time. I would like to thank all my guests, Major General Sudhakar ji, Ambassador Prateep Kapoor, as well as Ms. Shruti Dasgupta for being with us on the broadcast. All right, with that, I am wrapping up this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching.
MDH कसूरी मेथी लाजवाब है
स्वाद और सुगंध इसकी
लाजवाब है
अगर MDH कसूरी मेथी नहीं डाला
तो खाली हाथ मलते रह जाओगे।
एक एक पत्ता हाथ से चुना, स्वाद और सुगंध जगाएं कई गुना।
समान नागरिक संहिता हमारी बेटियां, माता और बहनों के गरिमापूर्ण जीवन का आधार बने। यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड से लोकतंत्र की स्पिरिट को मजबूती मिलेगी, संविधान की भावना मजबूत होगी, किसी से भेदभाव नहीं, हर कोई बराबर।
प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की दूरदर्शी प्रेरणा और मुख्यमंत्री श्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी जी के सशक्त नेतृत्व में उत्तराखंड ने इतिहास रचते हुए देश का पहला राज्य बनने का गौरव प्राप्त किया, जहां समान नागरिक संहिता यानी यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को प्रभावी रूप से लागू किया गया है। ये पहल राज्य में संवैधानिक मूल्यों को सुदृढ़ करते हुए समानता, सामाजिक समरसता और महिला सशक्तिकरण की दिशा में एक दूरदर्शी और प्रभावी कदम के रूप में स्थापित हुई है। इस ऐतिहासिक कानून के सफल क्रियान्वयन का 1 वर्ष पूर्ण होने पर उत्तराखंड सुशासन, समान अधिकार और जन विश्वास की उस यात्रा का उत्सव मना रहा है जो एक संकल्प से शुरू होकर अब एक व्यवस्था में परिवर्तित हो गई है। इस पहल की नींव मुख्यमंत्री श्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी जी द्वारा 12 फरवरी 2022 के राज्य विधानसभा चुनावों में जनता से किए गए उस ऐतिहासिक संकल्प से प्रारंभ हुई, जिसे पूरा करने की दिशा में 24 मार्च 2022 को नवगठित सरकार की प्रथम कैबिनेट बैठक में विशेषज्ञ समिति के गठन का निर्णय लिया गया। समिति ने प्रदेश भर में व्यापक संवाद करते हुए नागरिकों से लाखों सुझाव प्राप्त किए और 2 फरवरी 2024 को अपनी विस्तृत रिपोर्ट सरकार को प्रस्तुत की। इसके आधार पर 12 मार्च 2024 को यूसीसी उत्तराखंड अधिनियम 2024 को विधिक स्वीकृति प्रदान की गई और 27 जनवरी 2025 को नियमावली के प्रभावी होने के साथ ये कानून प्रशासनिक और डिजिटल दोनों स्तरों पर पूर्णतः लागू हुआ। इस अधिनियम के अंतर्गत विवाह, वसीयत, तलाक, लिव इन रिलेशनशिप तथा विधिक उत्तराधिकारी घोषणाओं से संबंधित प्रावधानों में सभी नागरिकों के लिए समान और न्याय संगत व्यवस्था सुनिश्चित की गई है। साथ ही महिलाओं के अधिकारों और वरिष्ठ नागरिकों के हितों के संरक्षण पर विशेष ध्यान दिया गया है, जिससे इसकी सार्वभौमिक स्वीकार्यता, प्रशासनिक दक्षता और जन विश्वास को नई मजबूती मिली है। कानून के सफल क्रियान्वयन हेतु 10 दिनों से भी कम समय में 8,500 से अधिक अधिकारियों तथा 7,500 से अधिक कॉमन सर्विस सेंटर संचालकों को प्रशिक्षित किया गया है। इसके साथ ही सहायता एवं तकनीकी परामर्श के लिए राज्यव्यापी मॉक ड्रिल का सफल आयोजन किया गया। इसके परिणाम स्वरूप 1 वर्ष में राज्य पोर्टल पर लगभग 5 लाख आवेदन प्राप्त हुए, जिनमें से 96% का औसतन 5 दिनों से भी कम समय में निस्तारण हुआ। पंजीकरण की गति में उल्लेखनीय वृद्धि हुई है, जहां प्रतिदिन औसतन 1400 से अधिक पंजीकरण दर्ज किए जा रहे हैं। संवेदनशील एवं उत्तरदायी शासन का परिचय देते हुए सरकार ने जनता की आवश्यकताओं के अनुरूप नियमों में समय समय पर आवश्यक संशोधन भी किए, जिससे यूसीसी कानून को और अधिक समावेशी, व्यवहारिक तथा जनहितकारी स्वरूप प्रदान किया जा सके। विकसित भारत 2047 के विजन के अनुरूप विकसित उत्तराखंड की दिशा में समान नागरिक संहिता एक महत्वपूर्ण पहल है, जो समानता और न्याय को प्रशासनिक प्रक्रियाओं में व्यवस्थित रूप से समाहित कर रही है। समान नागरिक संहिता, समानता द्वारा समरसता।
अब आया असली स्वाद।
अब आया स्वाद।
जब स्वाद के बड़े हो लाले तो MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला डालें। MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला।
MDH।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
MDH।
Welcome back. I am Medha and you are watching Newsx. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party or the BNP's Tarique Rahman claimed election victory on Friday after the first polls since a deadly 2024 uprising. By midnight, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party had taken an unassailable lead over the Jamaat and its allies, which was trailing with 38 seats in the contest to elect a new government to replace the Mohammad Yunus-led interim government. Yunus took charge after the collapse of the Sheikh Hasina-led Awami League dispensation, a party banned from contesting the polls and its symbols, the boat missing from ballot papers for the first time in 30 years. With that, let us now take a look at how global media is reacting to BNP's landmark victory. So, of course, 127 million people voted in this year's elections, and now let us look at how US media in fact is covering this election. So this is an article from Reuters, and it says that Bangladesh's BNP wins a 2/3 majority in a landmark election. So of course the main consensus is that this is a landmark election and the BNP has secured a landslide victory. It has also said that a clear outcome had been seen as key for the Muslim majority nation of 175 million after months of deadly anti-Hasina unrest disrupted everyday life in industries such as garments. And that BNP leader Tarique Rahman is widely expected to be sworn in as a Prime Minister, and he is the son of the party's founder, former President Ziaur Rahman. He returned in December to the capital Dhaka from 18 years abroad. Remember that Tarique Rahman was in fact in exile in London. Bangladesh's BNP's win big in first election since Gen Z uprising. Opinion polls had given BNP an edge and the party lived up to the forecasts with the coalition. It dominates, winning 209 seats to secure an overwhelming two-thirds majority in the 300-member Jatiya Sansad. Of course, now the BNP had largely been expected to win this year's poll in the absence of Sheikh Hasina. Widely, it was being said that it would be BNP who would take in the reins of the country. Now we have the New York Times saying Bangladesh Nationalist Party claims victory in a pivotal election. The BNP, led by Tarique Rahman, was heavily favoured to win the first election in the country since a student-led revolution toppled the last government in 2024. So the major consensus among global media, the US media rather, is that these elections were landmark and pivotal for the country. Bangladesh votes for old guard in first election after its Gen Z revolution. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party will form the new government after winning a majority. Now, the article from the Wall Street Journal says that this week, millions in Bangladesh voted in the first election since student-led protests ousted the country's long-time authoritarian leader, Sheikh Hasina. So, the Wall Street Journal is calling Sheikh Hasina an authoritarian leader and has said that the BNP has secured a landmark victory and is set to form the government. Now we have the Washington Post, of course, saying that the Bangladesh Nationalist Party claims victory in the country's first election since the 2024 uprising. Now the contest was largely a two-way race between the BNP and an 11-party alliance led by the Islamist Jamaat-e-Islami, a conservative religious party whose growing influence has fueled concern particularly among women and minority communities. So as we can see, this is the US media reacting to the elections in Bangladesh and of course the victory of Tarique Rahman. It was of course a two-way contest between the BNP as well as the Jamaat-e-Islami, and numerous opinion polls had in fact predicted that it would actually be the BNP that would take over the reins of the country after Sheikh Hasina was ousted in 2024 in a student-led uprising. With that, I am being joined by Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, who is a former diplomat on the broadcast. Good morning to you, sir. So my first question, the BNP has of course secured a landslide victory in this year's elections, and it's come back to power after 25 years. It's a thumping victory, and the Awami League of course has been missing from the ballot. You know, it's no more the battle of the Begums in the country. The long dominance of Sheikh Hasina as well as Khalida Zia is long over now. Sir, in your opinion, my first question is what exactly does the win of the BNP mean for the people of Bangladesh after almost 25 years?
Well, you know, there was some fears that you know, Jamaat-e-Islami and the Yunus regime, they are going to, you know, ruin this election by indulging in fake voting, by indulging in bogus voting. And there were some instances of, you know, such bogus voting on the social media and so on. But the good thing is that finally the will of the people has prevailed, and the people of Bangladesh, they have spoken, and they have clearly said that they don't have any faith in the Jamaat-e-Islami, nor do they have faith in the antics of the Yunus regime, which was trying to bring Jamaat-e-Islami, you know, into power. Similarly, it's a clear vote against what the Americans and what Pakistanis have been trying to do in Bangladesh. You know, they were also again trying to bring Jamaat-e-Islami into power without respecting the will of the people. So on the whole, I would say it's a very good development. It shows that the people of Bangladesh are not geared towards fundamentalist leanings. They are not geared towards Islamist leanings, which the Jamaat-e-Islami represents. And it's a very good omen for India. I mean, we are not happy that Awami League was not allowed to participate in the election. I mean, Logically, being the biggest party, Awami League should have been given a chance to participate. But anyway, given what the ruling regime in Bangladesh did, this is possibly the next best alternative. So I'm glad that the leader of the BNP has been congratulated by Prime Minister Modi and other world leaders, and other countries such as US, Pakistan, and so on. They have also accepted him, congratulated him. So I would say on the whole, it's a welcome development.
All right, sir. I would please request you to stay on with me. I'm also being joined by Lieutenant Colonel Himanshi Singh, who is a defense expert. Welcome to the broadcast, ma'am. Of course, the BNP has secured a landslide victory in this year's elections, and it was, of course, being said that it would be a two-way contest between the BNP and the Jamaat-e-Islami. So it was more or less the consensus was that BNP would actually be leading the country. Firstly, after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina now, what does the win of the BNP mean for the people of Bangladesh and the wider region as a whole?
Good morning. See, the landslide and monumental victory of Tarique Rahman from our exiled leader to, now he may become the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. I think it is a welcome change because after 2024 uprisings, we had seen so much of unrest, violence, and so many killings in Bangladesh, and we were deeply disturbed as a neighbor. So, he though was in exile for 17 years, yet he has inherited the statesmanship from his father and mother. So somewhere we see, even the Gen Z and women, they have voted for BNP because the kind of manifesto Jamaat had was very, very regressive. So when BNP comes to power and the way they have promised a lot of welcome changes in their manifesto, I think it is a welcome change, and the way he said he would be looking towards ASEAN and SAARC, that is also a very wonderful thing. So as India already tried to mend ties with BNP, Prime Minister Modi had already sent his letter of condolence through our Foreign Minister Shri Jaishankar ji. So all these things, India was already trying to mend ties with Bangladesh. Now the pressure which he will have is to, bring the economic stabilization and rebuild the nation from this shattered economy. And he has to address high inflation, and in few days they will have the Ramadan also, and Bangladesh faces a challenge of onions and hilsa and rice, all those things, rather than looking at just a bigger picture, there are so many small issues which he has to address. Then Jamaat said women will be allowed to work for 5 hours, and they wanted to do so many things based on the Islamic way of functioning. So I think somewhere these things have been rejected by the youth and the women of Bangladesh. But restoring law and order and ensuring public safety, that remains a big concern, because till now India was in the situation of wait and watch. But once an elected government has come into power, I think our expectations from the elected government would be much different than just, what we had from Yunus. So a lot of things, then there is a lot of corruption in Bangladesh, and he has to fight that, because there are people who have biases in judiciary, in administration, and most of them are pro-Jama. So challenges are much more. The economic zone, as I said earlier, the export processing zones he need to make. He has to have more number of women in the parliament. So a lot of challenges are there. It is not going to be just a crown. It is a crown of thrones. My best wishes to BNP and Tarique Rahman for a best of future. But challenges have to be navigated very, very deliberately, because we can expect, as Jama had said, that we are not going to accept the victory if things are not in our favor and all. So what I'm expecting is, though there are a lot of international observers are there, the army is there to take care of the situation, still how Jama is going to react. They are going to be a formidable opposition in Bangladesh. So how dignified they are going to be, that has to be seen, and how Tarique Rahman navigates through these challenges which I highlighted. There are more challenges than this. So let's see, we have to wait and watch how things progress in Bangladesh. But it's a very good thing that people have given a clear mandate to BNP, which I think rules out a hung parliament and other things. So it's a good welcome change for us as a neighbor to Bangladesh. Over to you.
Ma'am, I would please request you to stay on with me. Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, if I could come across to you, sir. Of course, ties between India and Bangladesh have become strained after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, and the UNIS government also has per se not been very keen to deepen ties with India. Now with the BNP coming back to power, sir, do you think ties between India and Bangladesh would now actually deepen, get better, or are they perhaps going to remain the same?
Bangladesh and India will improve now because we have an open mind towards who is ruling Bangladesh. You know, we are not clinged or we are not stuck to any particular leader or any particular party. We want to respect the wishes of the people of Bangladesh. All we wanted was a government which was representative, which was inclusive, which was democratic, which was, respectful of all sections of people, which would treat everyone equally. And obviously, we were not happy the way this fellow Yunus, with the help of Pakistan and United States, was trying to bring in the Jamaat-e-Islami and give more powers to the students, those riotous students who were destroying and who were killing people. So we are happy that all those things have been checked. And now that Tarique Rahman of BNP has won the election and BNP will form the government, India will do its best to support him. We have nothing against Bangladesh. We have no ill will towards Bangladesh. We are not expecting anything from Bangladesh except good neighborly relations. So there's nothing that India is seeking as such. So we will be very happy to help Bangladesh, help the new government in settling down. And as a neighbor, we have tried to help Bangladesh by providing them food, by providing them power and other things that they need, and we will be willing to do that. So it's a very good development, and I am very hopeful. I am very happy that this has happened. And this will bring more peace and stability in our region in South Asia. And this will also check the interference of outside powers like Pakistan, like the United States in our region. So it's a very good development for India.
All right, sir. I would please request you to stay on with me. If I could go across to Lieutenant Colonel Himanshi Singh once again. Ma'am, before I ask my question, I would like to, introduce this piece of information. Now, after the BNP had won the elections in 2001 along with its ally, coalition partner rather, Jamaat-e-Islami, widespread attacks targeting the Hindu minority were reported across the country. There were reports of arson as well as looting, raping, and these were mostly people that were aligned, were supporters of the Awami League. Going forward, do you think with BNP set to come back to power, the situation of the minorities could get better within the country, considering the checkered past of the BNP?
See, these Bangladesh is not new to political killings and suppression of minorities. We have seen in the recent past also post Hasina factor. But somewhere, the ray of light is that countries like India, they have not interfered too much in what was happening in Bangladesh. That is a very, very strong diplomatic move. and the way we try to improve our relationships by the pragmatic outreach. See, Prime Minister Modi is among the first to congratulate Tarique Rahman. So it is, we are expecting support and to the democratic progressiveness and inclusive Bangladesh. Somewhere BNP has also in their manifesto, showed are inclined toward a more inclusive Bangladesh where the minorities are respected. It is not just about Hindus, it is other religions also. Christianity is also there. So I think a lot of people, the entire international community is looking at Bangladesh. The pressure on Tarique Rahman is much more. He is more westernized. 17 years he stayed abroad. He believes in the family culture, and he's already said that we are going to make those family card where women are going to be head on the family. Moreover, his mother has been in power. So somewhere, though BNP was pro Pakistan, it believes in lot of things of Islamism, but the times have changed. See, people have to become more progressive rather than being regressive. And as he has said in his speeches many of time, he has to come out of these Dhaka cell allegations of intelligence reports saying that military and ISI was behind the coordinated attacks on people. The Jamaat, since it owns these streets, it was there. Since Jamaat is now in a back foot, though it is going to be a formidable opposition, but the most pressure is on Tarique Rahman, that he has to overcome these Islamic alliances of critics and the Sheikh Hasina's son, because the moment now the killings happen of minorities, there are going to be a lot of hue and cry, and I think it would be for India also to now interfere once this elected government takes over. Law and order remains a critical situation in Bangladesh, but at least we have to give him 100 days to settle down, because there are a lot of challenges he's going to face. So I think let's allow the relationship between India and Bangladesh to thaw, and let's see how it progresses. But I feel personally that now we will see these kind of targeted killing of minorities, especially Hindus, will be declined. I don't say they're going to stop, because Jamaat will definitely try to bring more challenges for for Tarique Rahman. So let's wait and watch. But I stay very positive when I say we will see a lot of decline, because there will be a reciprocal shift and reciprocal relationships becoming better between India and Bangladesh. We have been trying our bit. We have been extended our hand of friendship. So I think they also have to reciprocate, because BNP's manifesto also emphasizes that Bangladesh first, but equality. So it means they will be taking care of lot of things. They have to be in good relationship with India, because Teesta water and other things, border killings, and there's so many issues which Tarique has to look into and address. Over to you.
Ma'am, I would please request you to stay on with me. I'm also being joined by Group Captain UK Devnath, who is a former Indian Air Force officer. Sir, my first question to you is that the BNP has won a landslide victory after almost 25 years. What does the win of this party mean for the people of Bangladesh?
Definitely, people of Bangladesh must take a sigh of relief. After 1.5 years of almost anarchy, Bangladesh should now return to some kind of a stability. Last 1.5 years have been very, very painful in history of Bangladesh. Minorities have suffered, normal, ordinary Bangladeshi Muslims have suffered, Bangladeshi women have suffered, Bangladesh trade industry has suffered. I am very sure that now, as government is formed, Tarique Rahman's first few administrative steps should be to stabilize the administration of Bangladesh. Police is in disarray, totally demoralized. Large number of police senior officers are in jail. Some of them have been handed over death sentence by kangaroo courts, in which it was decided that just because they opened fire on crowd as part of their duty, they have been handed over death sentence. Judiciary in Bangladesh is totally disorganized. Judiciaries during July, August, September, October 2024, large number of judicial officers and government advocates and counselors were forced to resign by force. Now, if that element we take into consideration, then it remains a fact that judiciary, which was appointed ad hoc by this caretaker government, is totally biased towards extreme Muslim religious parties. Now, this judiciary has to be now weaned out, cleaned. It has to be hygienically cleaned. All those judicial appointments which were made in last 1.5 years, who were totally biased, must be weaned out of the governance, out of the judicial process. And again, those independent judges must be brought back to government by the government, who were forced to resign. Their house were attacked, their offices were attacked. Only then Bangladesh will be able to progress as a stable democracy. As far as India is concerned, on a big contentious issue will be Bangladesh may, due to its own internal domestic politics, may continue to press for Sheikh Hasina's return to Bangladesh. This will be a touchy issue, a very, very delicate issue between India and Bangladesh. I am sure government of India will be able to deal it slowly, steadily, without provoking Bangladesh. At present, we must not take any action wherein Bangladesh opposition parties again get a handle to stir anti-India hostile sentiments in Bangladesh. Yes.
Sir, additionally now, after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, ties between Pakistan and Bangladesh have become more closer. There's defense cooperation that has come to the fore. There's also the resumption of flights after almost 14 years. Now, with the BNP in power, do you think that now ties with Pakistan could deepen further? They could go on an upward trajectory, or is BNP going to keep the India factor in mind while it engages with Pakistan?
Definitely, BNP always maintained a little better relation with Pakistan whenever they were in power in Bangladesh, compared to Bangladesh relation with Pakistan during tenure of Awami League. But definitely, India must not feel neglected by this. Bangladesh is a independent country, and they have full right to maintain the relations with Pakistan or with China as they wish. India has to contribute positively towards Bangladesh development, and that is the only way we can wean away Bangladesh from Pakistan. We have to pump in more investment money, maybe during various talks. We have to give in small concessions to Bangladesh government so that they can show to their support base that they are winning with India. Putting any unnecessary pressure on a newly formed, very, very nascent government may backfire on our long-term relations with Bangladesh. You see, we shouldn't worry much about Bangladesh relation with Pakistan because historically, traditionally, whenever BNP was in power, they maintained a very, very open relation with Pakistan. And that is not a cause of concern to us. How we can beat Pakistan is provide Bangladesh better facilities, provide Bangladesh better tools, better transfer of technology wherever they need. Probably we can open our porous borders a little more
Yes, sir.
and facilitate more trade with Bangladesh so that their dependence on other countries reduces and their dependence, not exactly dependence, but as trade increase, Bangladesh will develop a favorable sentiment towards India vis-a-vis Pakistan. Yes.
All right, sir. I would please request you to continue with me. Now, in a post on X, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge said, and I quote, "On behalf of the Indian National Congress, I congratulate Mr. Tarique Rahman and the BNP for winning the parliamentary elections in Bangladesh. India and Bangladesh share deep-rooted bonds of history, language, culture and multitude of other commonalities." He added, "A democratic, progressive and inclusive Bangladesh would always be supported by all Indians for the stability and peace of our region." End quote. Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, if I could rope you in, sir. Going forward, what do you think the gameplay of the US and China would be, considering the fact that both countries are vying for influence in this tiny nation?
Well, you know, they will certainly, both the US and Pakistan, they will certainly try to work with this Tariq Aziz, trying to gain influence. US has got this big market for Bangladeshi textiles, so it has been trying to sell its yarn to Bangladesh so that you know, it can benefit both ways, you know, both by selling yarn and by importing textiles. So they will try to offer other benefits to Bangladesh. Similarly, Pakistan has always been trying to, you know, trying to sell its fundamentalist line to the ruling regime in Bangladesh. So Pakistan again will continue these efforts. But I think Tarique Rahman is seasoned in politics. He has been involved in politics for a fairly long time. He's a liberal. He has spent years in London. So he's aware of you know, what Bangladesh needs. And my personal feeling is that Tarique Rahman will have a much more balanced relationship between, you know, among India, China, United States, and he will certainly not encourage the fundamentalist forces led by Jamaat-e-Islami, and he will gradually have to, you know, put checks on the students who were encouraged by Yusuf, and also the junior wing of Jamaat-e-Islami, you know, those students aligned to Jamaat-e-Islami. So he'll have to keep all those elements in check and to ensure that the appointments that were made in the judiciary and other parts of the government, you know, those are reviewed and proper people, qualified people who are balanced, who are neutral, they are brought back into the administration. So I think he will have a lot of work to do, and but I'm sure that Bangladesh will move back from the path that it had adopted under Mohammad Yusuf, and its relations with India will improve. And so it's a very good beginning. It's a very good change that has happened in Bangladesh.
All right, sir, I would please request you to continue to stay with us. With that, I would like to go across to Lieutenant Colonel Himanshi Singh, ma'am. Would you agree with the assessment that India and China will try to outdo each other in a race for influence, and that Bangladesh will try to make the most out of it? Now, when Sheikh Hasina was in power, she tried to keep anti-India elements at bay. And do you think going forward, the BNP would also try to keep India's interests in mind? And additionally, of course, the China factor, China is also vying for influence in this country. Do you think the BNP would try to get the best of both worlds here?
You know, Meha, when we look at Bangladesh, it may look a very small piece of land. It is a country with geopolitical interest of many other neighboring countries and a place like USA. So we had seen what Sheikh Hasina had said, that because I did not give them St. Martin Island, they created this uprising. China is a silent player. China is developing their infrastructure and also helps them in military equipment and other things. Pakistan also have their stakes, and India, because it is sharing the major border with Bangladesh. So the dynamics are very, very complicated, and everyone would try to exert their pressure, influence, and relationships in Bangladesh. So, you know, the landslide victory of Tarique Rahman is a historic moment, yet he must understand the economy is very, very fragile and socially polarized. So his main focus is when he has to see the internal crisis of the country and also the external, these major countries around Bangladesh, which are directly or indirectly influencing what the foreign policies of Bangladesh. I think he is going to be very, very clear, because he has to first of all navigate through the shadow of Jamaat-e-Islami. They were, you know, in close allies, and now they have fought fierce elections against each other. So now they have to be very, very disciplined and morally grounded. BNP has to be very, very morally grounded. Secondly, the ideological friction. You know, he has tried to bring balance. He's already saying that he's not a Islamic kind of a person. He's more westernized, and that is why, as I earlier said, he was taking his family everywhere he was going. Now he has to manage the Gen Zs. If the Gen Zs are not given what they were promised, like 10 million jobs in next 5 years. See, over 40% of the Bangladesh population is under 30 years. Now, government has to create employment opportunities for them. So somewhere they have to keep cordial ties with the countries around them, because alone they cannot do it. And the requirement for
Ma'am, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I would please request you to stay on with me. With that, let us take a look at how Pakistani media is actually covering the Bangladeshi elections as well as the BNP's thumping win. Now remember, both the President of Pakistan, Asif Ali Zardari, as well as Shehbaz Sharif have said that they look forward to working with the new leadership in Pakistan. With that, let us take a look at this news article from Dawn, wherein it has said that the Jamaat-e-Islami as well as the BNP will be the two biggest parties in the parliament, and that Tarique Rahman, who is the son of military dictator Zia Rahman, is said to become the Prime Minister, while his mother Khalida Zia has, you know, served as the Prime Minister in the 1990s and early 2000s. Now remember, power in Bangladesh majorly alternated for a while between the Sheikh Hasina led Awami League as well as the Khalida Zia led BNP in what was dubbed as the Battle of the Begums. Now the Jamaat-e-Islami meanwhile has literally come back from the dead following the execution of its main leaders in mid-2010s for their opposition to Bangladesh's independence movement. So 5 top Jamaat-e-Islami leaders were hung back in 2010 for their participation in the genocide against Bangladeshis. The only genuinely new actor in Bangladesh's latest chapter, the organic student leadership which spearheaded the movement to oust ex-PM Sheikh Hasina and her Awami League, is represented to an extent by the recently formed National Citizen Party, which chose to ally with the Jamaat-e-Islami in the lead up to the polls. So this, of course, talking about the two main parties, the BNP as well as the Jamaat-e-Islami, and the newly formed student-led party, which of course allied with the Jamaat-e-Islami. Again, we have Ari News saying that Bangladesh elections 2026, BNP declares victory and that Tarique Rahman will be the next Prime Minister. Now in exile in New Delhi, Sheikh Hasina long dominated Bangladesh politics along with Rahman's mother Khalida Zia, while his father was a leading independence figure who ruled from 1977 to 1981 before he was assassinated. It has also said that broadcaster Jamuna TV said more than 2 million voters chose yes, while more than 850,000 said no in a constitutional reform which took place alongside with the elections. But there is no official word on the outcome, of course, from the Election Commission of Bangladesh. Apart from that, we have Geo News, another Pakistani media outlet, saying that BNP wins a 2/3 majority in a landmark election, and it has said that the latest count gives the Bangladesh Nationalist Party at least 212 out of the 299 seats up for grabs. Now, the latest counting figures, it said, is of course 212 out of the 299, which is way above the majority mark, and that also the Jamaat-e-Islami as well as its allies won 70 seats in the Jatiya Sangsad, or the House of the Nation. The BNP, which returns to power after 20 years, thanked the people soon after winning a majority in the overnight vote count and called for special prayers on Friday for the nation as well as its people. Now remember, Bangladesh actually has a unicameral legislature with voters voting across 300 constituencies, but it was 299 this time, as voting in one constituency was suspended after the death of a candidate. Now the BNP, we have this another media channel, Hum English, is saying that BNP claims victory in Bangladesh's elections as counting continues. Now, in a notable development, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended congratulations to the BNP following its election victory, despite its long-standing political alignment with ousted former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Awami League. Hasina, who was removed from office after last year's upheaval, is currently in India under exile. Pakistan also congratulated the people of Bangladesh on the successful peaceful polls, and President Asif Ali Zardari facilitates Tarique Rahman on BNP's landslide victory. Of course, Bangladeshi elections are being called as landslide by the Pakistani media here, and of course they have also said that the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif as well as the President of Pakistan Asif Ali Zardari have hailed this as a very important win for the people of Bangladesh. With that, we also have another news channel, Dunya, saying that Bangladesh voters back sweeping constitutional reforms in national referendum. Now, according to unofficial and preliminary results, 67% of voters supported the proposed reforms. Now, remember, along with the elections, people were also voting for a referendum on the July Charter, which had, suggested few changes to Bangladesh's constitution. While 33% people voted against them, the referendum required citizens to choose between yes and no, a decision expected to shape Bangladesh's future political and constitutional framework. Now, the referendum centered on the proposed July National Charter, a reform package aimed at implementing the demands of the July 2024 public movement. So, after the ouster of Hasina, this July National Charter was signed by a host of parties, including the BNP as well as the Jamaat-e-Islami. And of course, alongside these elections, people also voted on this constitutional reform. With that, I would like to go across to Group Captain UK Devnath, a former Indian Air Force officer. Sir, my question to you is that the BNP has some sort of a checkered history with minorities, considering the fact that back in 2001, when it had been in coalition with the Jamaat-e-Islami, you had widespread attacks being reported on minorities as they were seen as supporters of the Awami League. Going forward, sir, do you think the situation for the minorities could improve in Bangladesh?
Definitely. There are two very important factors are to be taken into consideration as far as minorities in Bangladesh are concerned. You see, this big victory of BNP is in a large way can be attributed to total voter shift of Hindus who were earlier voting for Awami League to BNP. Hindus realized that in case Jamaat comes into power, then their future is uncertain, rather bleak. So now Hindus have supported BNP in a big way. So this should soften the anti-minority stance of extreme right-wingers in BNP. Second factor, which is very, very strategically important, is last time when BNP was a little against minorities. Okay, I'll put it other way around. Last time when BNP was in power, because Jamaat-e-Islami was supporting the BNP government. So BNP was under pressure from Jamaat. Jamaat was its partner in governance. Atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh. Now this time, till now, all the indications are that Jamaat Islami or any other extreme Muslim belief party will not be part of government. In that case, BNP gets a free hand, and its police and judiciary also should, I anticipate, will get a free hand to be neutral and give verdicts and under various clauses which are supportive of minorities in Bangladesh. You see, if I can remind viewers, when Bangladesh became independent, its constitution was clearly secular. Halfway down the line, when BNP came to power, they removed the word secular and tried to give a little bit of Islamist status to their constitution. But rights of minorities were always protected. There are very stringent laws against any atrocity against minorities in Bangladesh. So now that Jamaat is out of power, I am sure that as police regains its control over distant villages, distant small towns, and as judiciary again blossoms back, atrocities against minorities will reduce. Yes.
All right, sir. I would please request you to stay on with me. With that, I would like to go across to Lieutenant Colonel Himanshi Singh, ma'am. The Awami League this time has been, in fact, after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, the Awami League had been banned and disbarred from contesting this year's elections. And Sheikh Hasina, of course, has also released a statement calling these elections farce and an illegal and unconstitutional election. Going forward, what do you think is the future of the Awami League as a very substantial segment that actually voted for the Awami League was this time politically excluded from these elections? Do you think the party will make an entry back into democratic politics or will be rehabilitated? Your opinion, ma'am.
I see from my perspective that these animosity between these two parties, Awami League and the BNP, more than the political rivalry, it is more of a personal rivalry. We have seen, every time these two women, they were fighting against each other, it used to get very personal. And when things get personal, and when the other person comes into power, they will not let, Awami League to revive. The agenda for Tarique Rahman, whether he says it or not says it, his action will tell. He would not like the Awami League to, blossom or even resurface. Because his two opponents, Sheikh Hasina and her son, both are out of country. And there are no chances of her returning to Bangladesh because she herself has said that these courts, these kangaroo courts or the ICC, as they said, they wanted her presence for the punishment. She refused. She said, no, you have to go to the International Court of Justice. So she does not believe in this. And whether, Tarique Rahman stays in power, Jamaat stays, as a strong opposition, they will not like them to return to the country because no one likes a strong opposition, coming back. And when they already have an opportunity to keep them away, they will keep them away because, when Sheikh Hasina was in power, she has tried to destroy whatever she could of the BNP. And now since the power has come to the BNP, they will definitely do tit for tat. So I don't think that anytime soon the Awami League will resurface. It takes time, and so many people who were strong towards the Awami League, they have not voted. But did it make any difference to the Bangladeshi elections? No, it has not. BNP has come as a power. So I don't think that, Tarique Rahman will allow BNP, because moreover, leave the Awami League part also, his challenges are very, very different. He knows that Yunus Muhammad has already bring the Awami League down to some level. So many people are in jail. I don't think he's going to release them. So many people have been killed. And Sheikh Hasina, why she was out? Because one main reason was the extrajudicial killings, the missing people, the way she tried to kill people point blank. These are the allegations which have been put on her. So when a leader and the narrative has already been set in Bangladesh against her, it is difficult to wipe off that narrative sitting somewhere else in a country like India, or her son is sitting somewhere in the European countries. It is difficult. But Tarique Rahman's focus will stay in stabilizing the country, its economy, and the law and order situation. He would not like further law and order deterioration in his country, because as I earlier said, the world is watching. The US and European countries are watching for the human rights. The China is a silent, the country which would like to keep the economics fine and the infrastructure development. Pakistan will not openly interfere for some time. They will just try and maintain diplomatic tie, very cordial ones, at least for the show of the world. What happens back channel is a different thing. India would also like to exercise their power.
Yes, ma'am.
But I don't think India is going to send Sheikh Hasina back, because the moment she goes back, she'll be, given some punishment, and she may not be allowed to come out, or she'll be hanged or whatever. So this is a very, delicate point of contest, which India will have to see. But I do not see, as coming back to your question, Awami League coming back in some form for next 2-3 years.
Ma'am,
It is not
I'm
possible.
so sorry to interrupt you. I'm running a little short on time. With that, I would like to thank all my guests for being with us here on the broadcast. Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, Group Captain UK Devnath, as well as Lieutenant Colonel Himanshi Singh. Thank you to all of you for being here and sharing your insights. With that, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif extended his congratulations to BNP Chairman Tarique Rahman. In a message posted on his verified X account, he wrote, and I quote, "I extend my warmest felicitations to Tarique Rahman on leading the BNP to a resounding victory in the parliamentary elections in Bangladesh. I also congratulate the people of Bangladesh on the successful conduct of the elections," end quote. He added that he looks forward to working closely with the new Bangladesh leadership to further strengthen their relations and advance their shared goals of peace, stability and development in South Asia and beyond. Alright, with that, let's shift our attention to some other developments that are coming in. Now, at least 3 schools in Delhi received bomb threat emails on Friday morning, prompting authorities to launch search operations, a Delhi Fire Services DFS official said. In a message to parents, another school said, "Dear parents, this morning the school received a security threat." In a message to parents, another school said, "Dear parents, this morning the school received a security threat. As a precautionary measure, the police are in school for necessary security measures. All students have been evacuated safely. Once the school is declared safe, classes will resume." Javed Hussain, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Javed, बहुत सारे बॉम्ब थ्रेट्स हम देख रहे हैं इन द पास्ट, बहुत सारे दिल्ली के स्कूल्स को मिल रहा है, ये भी कुछ है क्या? हमें जानकारी है कि ये कौन से 3 स्कूल्स हैं जिन्हें बॉम्ब थ्रेट मिल रहा है, और क्या इसकी और जानकारी आप हमें दे सकते हैं?
देखिए, दिल्ली के जानकारी के मुताबिक करीब 9 स्कूलों को थ्रेट मिली है, जिसमें अभी तक जो जानकारी के मुताबिक झंडे बनाने के पास फैमिली स्कूल है, ब्रिटिश स्कूल और ब्रिटिश के साथ साथ एक पीवी स्कूल जो है ये शामिल हैं जिनको बॉम्ब सुनाने की धमकी मिली है। लेकिन सबसे बड़ी बात ये है कि पैटर्न बिल्कुल सेम है। जो अभी कुछ दिन पहले जिस तरीके से धमकी मिली थी, सेम उसी पैटर्न पे जो है इस बार भी धमकी दी गई है। और खालिस्तान जो है वो दिल्ली जो खालिस्तान बनेगा, इस तरीके का जो है कंटेंट जो है वो लिखा हुआ धमकी मिला है आपको। और अब जो है दिल्ली पुलिस इस पूरे मामले की जांच में जुटी हुई है। साथ ही हालांकि बॉम्ब की खबर थी, इसलिए दिल्ली पुलिस के साथ साथ दिल्ली पुलिस की डॉग स्क्वाड, बॉम्ब स्क्वाड, फॉरेंसिक जो क्राइम टीम है वो सभी मौके पे पहुंच गई थी। और सबसे अच्छी बात ये है कि इस बार भी किसी तरीके का कोई भी सस्पिशियस जो है कुछ जो एलिमेंट्स है वो नहीं मिला है। और फिलहाल पुलिस जो है हर एक एंगल को लेकर जांच कर रही। पुलिस इसे किसी की शरारत और दूसरे टेरर एंगल्स और जो जिस तरीके से खालिस्तान का जिक्र किया है उस एंगल पे भी दिल्ली पुलिस इसकी जांच कर रही है। और इसके आईपी एड्रेस और जो मेल है ये कहाँ से जनरेट किया गया, कहाँ से भेजा गया स्कूलों को, उसको लेकर जो है वो दिल्ली पुलिस की साइबर टीम भी इस पूरे मामले की जांच कर रही है। फिलहाल अभी तक कुछ भी नहीं मिला है। और सबसे अच्छी बात है कि बच्चों का एग्जाम चल रहा है और एग्जाम को लेकर भी पेरेंट्स कहीं ना कहीं काफी परेशान थे। लेकिन जो है स्कूल को पूरी तरह से सुबह में खाली करा लिया गया था और अब जो है स्कूल को पूरी तरीके से जो जांच है वो कर ली गई है। लेकिन फिलहाल अभी तक जानकारी के मुताबिक जो है अभी ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं मिला है।
All right, Javed, thank you so much for sharing all those details with us. Turning our attention now to Uttar Pradesh. A 12th class student was driving a Swift car. His girlfriend was also present. A hit and run case was reported on Thursday evening in Bantra area of Lucknow, the capital of Uttar Pradesh. A speeding Swift car hit an auto rickshaw and pedestrians. A 6-year-old child died and 5 people were injured in the incident. According to preliminary information, the 12th class student driving the car was returning from his school farewell. His girlfriend was also in the car. Both are minors. It is being told that after the accident, the student left his girlfriend somewhere else and fled from the spot. Both study in Awadh College. The student allegedly crushed 6 people with his car, killing 1 child. 5 people were injured in the accident. Arman, who's 12 years old, Awadh Bihari, who's 42 years old, as well as Sadhana Verma, who's 35 years old, Meena Devi, who is 60 years old, and Dikshant Patel, who is 6 years old, were seriously injured. According to police, the accident occurred on February 12th at around 6 p.m. near the Hanuman temple on Kanpur Road in the town of Bantra. My colleague Abhishek Singh joins us for more on this. Abhishek, walk us through the details of this hit and run that has taken place in the capital of Uttar Pradesh.
Yes, the last evening a tragic incident occurred when a speeding car moused down 6-year-old near Hanuman temple. Child was down off the road and died on the spot. The driver flees away after the accident, and there were also 6 others who were severely injured. The speeding car plunged into the pedestrian and vehicles in Lucknow and Bantra road area. The driver fled the scene from the crash near Hanuman temple in Kanpur Road, and also circumstantially the tragedy came after the next day, the speeding car Lamborghini accident. It was also in such popular and controversial in social media, and after this the whole incident occurred in Lucknow, the state capital of UP.
All right, Abhishek, thank you so much for sharing all those details with us. With that, I sip into a very short break. Thank you so much for watching.
लाल रंग इसका अपार, तीखा कम है फिर भी स्वाद, बेमिसाल बेमिसाल MDH कश्मीरी,
MDH कश्मीरी।
MDH
इलाज का भरोसा, शिक्षकों का सम्मान, यूपी में आरोग्य का सबसे बड़ा उपहार। हमारे छात्रों के भविष्य को संवारने वाले शिक्षकों एवं शिक्षणेतर कर्मियों के चिंता मुक्त भविष्य के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार। यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के मार्गदर्शन और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ जी के कुशल नेतृत्व में अब बेसिक और माध्यमिक शिक्षा परिषदों के अधीन आने वाले करीब 15 लाख शिक्षकों शिक्षणेतर कर्मियों और उनके परिवारों के 60 लाख से अधिक आश्रितों को कैशलेस उपचार की सुविधा देने का संकल्प साकार हुआ। अब प्राथमिक एवं उच्च प्राथमिक विद्यालयों के शिक्षक और शासकीय सहायता प्राप्त विद्यालय एवं महाविद्यालयों के शिक्षक, शिक्षा मित्र, अनुदेशक, रसोइया और उनके परिवारों को मिलेगा कैशलेस इलाज का लाभ। स्वास्थ्य का ध्यान है, शिक्षकों का सम्मान है, यही तो डबल इंजन सरकार है।
जो भी पके ऐसा पके, जहाँ भी हो जो खींचा चलाए, मिट्टी दिल हो या पुलियो गिरे, वांगी भात हो या पोड़ी मसाला, रस पाउडर या सांभर मसाला, असली मसाले सच सच MDH MDH।
सस्ते वाले दाल मसाले स्वाद हुआ बेकार। MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
कभी खेलों के मानचित्र पर उत्तर प्रदेश सिर्फ संभावनाओं का नाम था, पर 2017 के बाद संभावनाएं संरचना बनी। जनपदों में स्टेडियम, ब्लॉकों में मिनी स्टेडियम और गांव में मैदान। खेल अब शहरों तक सीमित नहीं रहे। लखनऊ से मेरठ, वाराणसी से का गूंजता संदेश, ये है नया उत्तर प्रदेश।
This week on the roundtable, we are taking a look at the danger our country faces from the number of Chinese imports that have been literally dumped onto our country. Our economy is at great risk. What can the budget do about it?
The budget is like an iron dome. It protects our factories, it protects Indian capacities, and we need to defend them from the onslaught that the Chinese.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsx and I'm Medha Sharan. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party's Tarique Rahman claimed victory on Friday after the first polls since a deadly 2024 uprising. By midnight, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party had taken an unassailable lead over the Jamaat and its allies, which were trailing with 38 seats in the contest to elect a new government to replace the Mohammad Yunus-led interim government. Yunus took charge after the collapse of the Hasina-led Awami League dispensation, a party banned from contesting the poll and its symbol, the boat, missing from ballot papers for the first time in 30 years. Joining me on the telecast is Riva Ganguly Das, former High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Welcome to the broadcast, ma'am. My first question, of course, is the BNP has won this year's parliamentary elections after a record landslide. Coming back to power after 25 years, the Awami League has been banned after Sheikh Hasina was ousted in a student-led revolution. Ma'am, firstly, what does the win of the BNP mean for the citizens of Bangladesh?
I think it's a very significant win. And I always held this position that this election for Bangladesh was going to be in a sense, an existential election, because there was a lot of speculation that Jamaat-e-Islami might actually form the government. If that had happened, I think, Bangladesh, as it has existed for so long, and especially, the society, the women would have been very seriously affected. So I think the verdict is very clear. The people of Bangladesh have rejected the narrative which was put forward over the last 17 months of the Yunus-led government, and despite the the interim government's every possible effort, the Jamaat and its coalition partner, the NCP, towards which the government showed unusual partiality, did not win. I think this is a very significant election. You might say that the voting percentage was not as high as people had expected. Well, the reason for that could be that a lot of Awami Leaguers may have boycotted the election, but I think this is people of Bangladesh have come together to sort of, in a sense, stop the Jamaat-e-Islami, the right-wing elements, the kind of mobocracy that we saw in Bangladesh, and really hope for the best, that they have some peace and stability in the next few years, and they're able to get back to their normal life.
Ma'am, additionally, Hasina was pro-India, and after her ouster, ties between both Bangladesh and India strained under the leadership of Muhammad Yunus. Going forward, do you think ties between India and Bangladesh will be repaired, and what exactly does the victory of Tarique Rahman mean for India?
First and foremost, it means that we will be dealing with a legitimate elected government, a government which will have the confidence to take decision, a government which is backed by an overwhelming mandate of the people. You would have noticed that throughout this election process, throughout the campaign, a lot of provocative statements were made against Tarique Rahman, against India. But, BNP has showed a certain degree of maturity, which I have not seen in them before. So I think, they will take a more practical approach to our relationship. We have worked with the BNP in the past. They have been in the government in the past. And I think, it's completely different dealing with a elected government with a mandate. And this is not to say that it's going to be very easy and everything is going to fall in place, but it's not going to be as tough as it was with Tarique, with the Yunus-led government.
Additionally, ma'am, we've seen in the run-up to the elections in Bangladesh as well, attacks on minorities have been reported, and back even when the BNP, along with its coalition partner Jamaat-e-Islami, came back to power in 2001, we had seen that so-called supporters of the Awami League were targeted, who were mostly from reports. The supporters of the Awami League, you had reports of minorities being targeted with arson, rape, loot, as well as targeted killings. Do you think under this leadership now there's going to be some sort of an accountability to the minorities, or is it going to stay the same? Will minorities still continue rather to be targeted? All right, so 127 Bangladeshis voted this year in the elections. Bangladesh has a population of about 170. This was a two-way contest between the BNP, which is led by Tarique Rahman, who is the son of former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Khaleda Zia, as well as the son of former President Zia Rahman. Now he has come back to victory. He has come, he has won this election with a thumping victory, and BNP has come back to power after 25 years. With that, I would like to go across to my other guests. Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta, who is a former diplomat, joins us, as well as Mr. Pramit Pal Chaudhary, who is the South Asia head for Eurasia Group. We have Mr. Yuvraj Pokhrana, who is an author and columnist on the broadcast, and Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava, foreign affairs expert as well. Ambassador Gauri Shankar, I would like to come across to you first, sir. This is the first elections after the Awami League was disbarred from contesting elections after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. What does the win of the BNP after 25 years mean for the people of Bangladesh? So,
good morning, Medha. Good morning. You see, I had already predicted on your channel twice that BNP will win with a thumping majority. The reasons were very clear. The first was that Bangladeshi people in large number do not want a fundamentalist party, a radicalization of Islam in the country. The second was that since Awami League was not allowed to contest, a large number of Awami League voters voted for BNP because that was the second best option for those people. And thirdly, the current Yunus government had actually destroyed the economy of the country. Even the most important economy of the most important industry of Bangladesh is export of garments. Even that has been destroyed tremendously. Then they have created a lot of hurdles in terms of development because of deteriorating relations with India. In terms of communication, in terms of power supply, in terms of transportation. So all these have gone against Bangladesh. And actually, I have made, when I was posted to Dhaka between 85 and 88, I had the privilege of meeting both Khaleda Zia and Sheikh Hasina many times. And I found Khaleda Zia was quite moderate person. Of course, Tarique Rahman was very young at that time, and I didn't know him that well. But obviously, Tarique Rahman's statements after he came back from London have always been very positive, and he has supported the minorities to the extent that no oppression or no atrocities should be committed on minorities. And you will recall that when our External Affairs Minister went after the death of Khaleda Zia to Bangladesh, he met Tarique Rahman. He carried a letter from our Prime Minister, and he assured them that we would like to have a very cordial and close ties with Bangladesh. Now we have a long border of 2,400 kilometers with Bangladesh, and this border is very porous, and therefore we need to have a government which is friendly so that we can cooperate on the border issues, we can stop smuggling, and we can actually prevent infiltration as well as the shelter to those extremist elements from the northeast. So it is extremely important, and that is why we were hoping that Tarique Rahman will become the Prime Minister. Now it is very clear. I think the people have overwhelmingly voted for him. He has already secured more than 2/3 of the majority in the parliament, and Jamaat-e-Islami never enjoyed the support of more than 10 to 12% of people. I think that is what they will get in this election as well. In fact, the first culprit in this whole process was the so-called Nobel laureate who headed the 17-18 months of government in Bangladesh. He has not only destroyed Bangladesh, he has destroyed Bangladesh's relations with India, he has destroyed the economy of Bangladesh, and he has promoted the fundamentalist and radical elements with the ISI support and support of non-state actors based in Pakistan. So this has been a very positive development. I am sure our relations with Bangladesh will take a very positive turn now onwards.
Yes, sir.
I am absolutely hopeful that some special envoy from our side will visit Bangladesh soon.
Ambassador, sir, I would please request you to stay on with me. I'm being once again joined by Ambassador Riva Ganguly Das, former High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Ma'am, as we were discussing earlier, in your opinion, do you think going forward the situation of minorities in Bangladesh would improve under the leadership of Tarique Rahman?
See, one can always hope so. But, I mean, today is probably not a day to recall the last time Bangladesh was in power, and, it was not a very happy situation for the minorities. But the situation then was very different from now. Then Jamaat was their partner. And, right after election in 2001, to almost early part of 2002, there was a lot of violence against minorities. So it would obviously be our hope that that is not repeated. And hopefully, because, Jamaat is now in the opposition, and so it will be now up to the new government. Clearly, BNP is going to form the government, but when and how the transition will take place, and these next few days are going to be very crucial because it's still not clear when the oath taking will take place, and the police and the army played a remarkable role in keeping the law and order in control through what was clearly a very, very tense election. And despite a lot of provocation, and despite not succeeding much in the last few months. So hopefully law and order will be maintained as the transition takes place, and that BNP, the commitment that they have made for a secular Bangladesh moving forward, they will keep that promise.
Additionally, ma'am, while Sheikh Hasina was in power, she was seen as pro-India and she kept Pakistan at an arm's length. But following her ouster, ties between Pakistan and Bangladesh deepened under Mohammed Yunus. There's defense cooperation now. Flights resumed after a hiatus of 14 years. Do you think now with the BNP in power, the ties between both Pakistan and Bangladesh will see an upward trajectory? And if so, how should India actually respond to this?
I think this is time for India to, make every effort to implement its neighborhood first policy. And in neighborhood first, we have repeatedly said that in the neighborhood first, it's Bangladesh first. So I think we have to, move forward and identify the areas where we can work together quickly, where cooperation is required. So we on our part have to really implement what we have always stood for in the case of Bangladesh. As far as Pakistan is concerned, you see what Mohammed Yunus did was quite extraordinary, because he was it was not an elected government, and the reason for his excessive friendship towards Pakistan and China could be only seen from the Indian lens, that he was they were going ahead doing all kinds of deals with the Pakistanis without really thinking through a lot of things. And let us not forget that the wounds of 1971 war, the genocide, is not really forgotten. Yunus and his government may have forgotten it, but I don't think the people of Bangladesh have exactly forgotten how the Pakistan treated its own citizens, killed its own citizens. So hopefully BNP will be able to bring some semblance of balance, and will not play this game of India, Pakistan, China, because it really does not help Bangladesh at all. Where India stands next to the border with such a long border, and the advantages that we obviously have, look at our business, $18 billion of trade we were doing, $8 billion, more than $8 billion of lines of credit. There are very few neighbors who can do this for Bangladesh. So I think it's time to repair the relationship and put it back on rails.
Ma'am Riva Ganguly Das, thank you so much for being with us here on the broadcast and sharing your perspective. Appreciate it. With that, the Khulna 1 constituency delivered a decisive result in Bangladesh's 2026 parliamentary elections as BNP leader Kheer Ijaz Khan defeated Krishna Nandi, the only Hindu candidate fielded by Jamaat-e-Islami. The contest drew nationwide attention due to Nandi's unique political position and the wider debate about minority representation in the country's politics. Khan, representing the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, secured 121,352 votes with a paddy sheaf symbol, while Nandi managed 70,346 votes with a Dari Pala symbol. The result marked a strong showing for the BNP in the region. Joining me on the broadcast is Mr. Pramit Pal Chaudhary, South Asia head of the Eurasia Group. Sir, my question to you is that after these elections, rather after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, we saw the ties between Pakistan as well as Bangladesh deepen. Do you think the same is going to be the case going forward?
So we will see, but I think that the key about the BNP government is effectively it's a pro-business party. It is a party of business. It is the big garment exporters. So they will be very pragmatic about their economic issues in particular. Pakistan brings very little to the table economically for Bangladesh. It may be a source of weapons. It may be useful to maintain a certain degree of, should we say, foreign policy autonomy. It's useful for any Bangladesh government, but it brings almost nothing on the table in terms of investment and trade. So for Tarique Rahman, he's made it very clear in his manifesto that while he will have good relations with all of the countries in the neighborhood, he will be very focused, particularly on countries that that are economically very important, because restoring the growth in the economy is going to be his #1 challenge. The Jamaat, on the other hand, in their manifesto is very clear that they would prioritize relationships with fellow Muslim countries. That's not something the BNP has said. And I know that Tarique Rahman, in private, when he has spoken to people in Bangladesh, who I know, has stressed to them that restoring and stabilizing the relationship with India is a priority for him. Even under Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh has always maintained a certain degree of independence from India. That's expected of a country of 170 million people. They would attempt, like India has with its own relationship with the great powers, maintain a degree of independence. So they've, under Sheikh Hasina, they've never bought Indian weapons, for example. They allowed the military largely more Chinese weapons and a few Russian ones. So we'll see a bit of that continuing, but I don't see Pakistan bringing very much to the table for this government. And the Bangladeshis traditionally, rather than have avoided getting into debt traps of China, they have always preferred to go to the multilateral financial institutions for their external debt requirements. And their biggest ODA partner is neither India or China. It is Japan, a country with which India has very strong and very good strategic relations.
Sir, I would please request you to stay on with me. With that, let me go across to my colleague Shivani Singh, who will take you through the latest result numbers coming in.
Now we are on it.
Right, Medha. In fact, let's look at the election results and let's look at the live counting that's in fact going on. And if you can see, this is the breakdown of the results that we are currently looking at. They have completed the counting into 51 seats. 48 seats remain to be counted, and you can see that the BNP and its allies are around, they've crossed the halfway mark. We have the independents, others, and we have Jamaat and allies as the orange one. So you can clearly see this seems to be a clear majority for the BNP and its allies. Also remember that apart from the votes, there was also a referendum that was cast yesterday, and we had in fact around 4,46,135 votes which were cast, and there were 2 crore people, almost 3 crore people who actually said yes to the referendum. This is for the implementation of the July Charter. So apart from these results, let's also look at the live results map. Let's look at the divisions, because there are some really important divisions that we want to point out. Or everything in purple, BNP and its allies, and you can see it's covering entire Bangladesh, and you have some of these border areas where you can see the Jamaat-e-Islam win. So let's look at this particular constituency, which is Dhaka, which is the capital. And let's look at Tarique Rahman. He has won with 51.6% votes, and he's gathered 72,699 votes, and hence BNP is the clear winner. The closest comes Jamaat-e-Islam's Khazidul Zaman. He got 68,300 votes. Also, let's look at Dhaka 11 and Dhaka 13, because these are also important, because we can see how we have Dhaka 11, Jamaat actually win this, or the Citizens Nationals Party win this, so which is an ally of the Jamaat. Let's also, in fact, look at Kulna, because you were just talking about Kulna too, where there was a Hindu, in fact, person who was, running. There was a candidate, and that person has lost. So this is clearly something that has also come to the fore, but you can see over here as well that BNP is leading. Let's also look at Bagura, because Bagura 6 is also the place where Tarique Rahman has won from. Over here as well, he got thumping majority. So clearly we can see that the BNP is leading in all of these constituencies. In fact, it's won in a lot of constituencies, but we can see these orange markers that are near the borders. It shows that Jamaat and its allies are also leading in these. Let's look at Chattogram. There as well we have BNP, in fact, winning. Imamul Haq, who is a very famous candidate from there, he's winning 82.3% of the votes, over 1,35,000 votes, in fact. Let's also look at the division-wise breakdown, because this will give us a clearer picture. In Barisal, BNP and its allies have won 14 out of the 21 in this division. In Chattogram, we have BNP winning in 42 out of the 58. In Dhaka, it's winning 50 out of the 70. In Kulna, it's winning 11 of 36. In Mymensingh, this was a division that has been in the news over the past few weeks because of those minorities who have been attacked and murdered. Over there we see BNP winning 14 out of 24. In Rajshahi, 22 out of 39. In Rangpur, 14 out of 33, and in Sylhet we have 16 out of 19. Let's also look at the Jamaat stats and its allies, because this shows you a clearer picture of how low the number of votes really is. In Barisal, only 2 out of 21. Chattogram, 4 out of 58. Missile numbers. In Mymensingh, we have 2 out of 24. And others are those independents that we have been talking about. They have won. In Chattogram, we can see 3 out of the 58. So this is something that is in fact very important to note, because this is the division breakdown, and it gives you a clear picture of how the BNP and its allies are clearly moving. So this is the latest picture that we are getting for you, Medha, and our viewers, and obviously the counting is still going on, but BNP and its allies seem to be in the lead. Back to you.
Appreciate you sharing all those details with us, Shivani. I would like to go across to Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta for a moment. Sir, we're seeing that with the border with India, Bangladeshis are voting more and more for the Jamaat-e-Islami. What could be the factors behind that, and additionally the implications for India, sir?
Yes, this is very important factor. The reason is very clear. A large number of Bangladeshis in the border districts, they want to infiltrate into India, and they want a very, what you call, with unhindered passage. And if Jamaat had come there, obviously they would have got an unhindered passage into India. the Bangladeshi, it used to be called BDR earlier, but they've changed the name now, that those forces on the border will not be able to cooperate with them with BNP being there, because that would mean that India-Bangladesh relations will be affected adversely. But BJP as was ready to do that, and that is why they wanted, Jamaat Islami to be elected from those areas, so that their infiltration into India becomes easier, particularly in West Bengal and Assam, and that has been going on, ever since 71 bar. After that, tremendous increase in the neighboring districts of India in population. If you see annual increase of population in the bordering districts in India, you will find it has gone up by 20, 25%, 30% in some places in 1 year alone. Now, that is not possible in the normal circumstances. This is possible only through illegal immigration from Bangladesh. So, to some extent, of course, our authorities are also responsible. But in large cases, since the border is very porous, the BDR, the Bangladesh border forces, they facilitate through different means the infiltration of Bangladeshis into India. So that was one of the reasons I think they wanted Jamaat to win in those areas. And I'm very happy that overall the Jamaat has not been able to intrude much into the Bangladesh politics. Their overall account will not be more than 10 to 15% of the total seats, which is a good sign. And this new party, launched by the younger generation under the Yunus government, that has also not been able to make much headway. And then the voting percentage is lower, partly because the Awami League was not allowed to contest. So some of the voters perhaps stayed out of voting. But a large number of Awami League supporters, I'm sure, voted for BNP. And that is why BNP has been able to get, as per my report, the leading in about 2/3 of the total assembly seats, they are leading in Bangladesh. So I hope, the Tarique Rahman will start, repairing relations with India, and he will, increase the economic cooperation, which was very, very smoothly going on during Sheikh Hasina's time. Now this is time
All
that
right, sir.
we, look for repairing our relations with Bangladesh.
All right, sir, I would please request you to stay on with me. Now, the restrictions on mobile and online transactions in Bangladesh have been lifted. They were imposed ahead of the national parliamentary elections. This allows customers of bKash, Nagad and Rocket to resume normal transactions. On the night of February 8th, the central bank imposed special restrictions to prevent the misuse of money during the election. On Friday, after 12 a.m., the 4-day restrictions on mobile financial services and internet banking were withdrawn. Subsequently, the previous limits on person-to-person transactions were lifted. According to the central bank sources, the restrictions were lifted after reviewing the situation following the completion of the stipulated 96 hours. Joining me on the broadcast is Mr. Yuvraj Pokharna, who is an author and columnist. Welcome to the broadcast, sir. Of course, both the US as well as the China are vying for influence within Bangladesh. So going forward, what do you think will be the gameplay of both these nations, considering that both of them had stepped up interactions with the regime over the past few days?
Namaste everyone. Medha, before coming to your question, let me just take a few moments to build a preface. The only importance that has been ascribed to Bangladesh is its vicinity to India, and that the fact that it shares a massive border of 4,097 kilometers of land border with India. And I have carefully, listened to, assessed to every of the panelists before me. I think Jamaat and BNP are not to be misconstrued as two different political parties. If you ask any political person having boots on the ground, and I can speak of myself as an analyst, Jamaat is akin to Simi and the BNP is akin to SDPI of India. They're nothing but two sides of the same coin, one playing good cop one playing bad cop. And if you see the media reports, it has already been acknowledged widely in the media that Jamaat-e-Islami has amicably conceded the defeat and extended its positive support to the BNP. And I see a larger pattern. Tarique Rahman, the Dark Prince, he suddenly comes after an exile of 17 years. And how? I mean, he is now to be the next PM of Bangladesh, and his party merrily contested on 292 seats out of 300 Meda. Just imagine the level of confidence, the vanity that they must be having. कि हम ही जीतने वाले हैं. So this was nothing but a farce of an election, a sham of an election conducted by an advisor to the government where there was no government. So you had an advisor to the government with no government in place. And let me add one more point for your viewers. It was an election where a voter was supposed to give two votes, one to any of the political party that he chose, and one vote to the 84-point reform package that is extended by the alleged advisor Mohammed Yunus. So for the 84 points, it might be possible that Medha is in agreement with a few points, but she is in a complete discord with most of the points. But Medha does not have any choice. She can either vote yes or vote no. So this was the Bangladesh election for you, where the ruling party Awami League was blacklisted, was banned. But that's a commonplace for any Islamic nation. But let me now address your question. From the time that Mohammed Yunus was in place, he was playing a second fiddle to the US. I mean, I remember back in 1999.
Sir, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I have this breaking input coming in now. Bangladesh's Jamaat-e-Islami has decided not to go to parliament due to allegations of irregularities, encroachment and rigging in the election. Along with this, the party has demanded a full re-election for 150 seats, a warning of continuous agitation if not complied with. Mr. Yuvraj sir, if you could go back to completing your thoughts. Additionally, your views on the BNP saying that it won't go to the parliament over allegations of irregularities amid its poor show in this year's parliamentary elections.
Medha, the only word that I have for these buffoonery is these are a bunch of clowns wanting or vying to be elected ministers and prime ministers. Today morning, I just saw a conference on a international media outlet wherein the chief of Jamaat said gave a positive message and extended his support to the coming ruling party, that is the BNP. And now what you have broke is something otherwise. Now let me address the question that you started with. Bangladesh was playing a second fiddle to the United States. I remember back in 1999, George Soros doled out an amount of $11 million to the Grameen Bank led by the so-called advisor Mohammed Yunus. And after becoming the advisor, in the past 18 years, George Soros' son Alex met this advisor twice. And on one of the occasions, he went on to say that Mohammed Yunus Saab is like an uncle to me. He's an old friend of my father's. So he was playing a second fiddle to the US, to the international lobby, to the deep state, as is well documented. But then came China. China started augmenting its influence over the region. And a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, I remember the US gave them very good defense deals. They said that they want to improve the defense partnership and cooperation with the Bangladesh. And that is where the game between the US and the China began. But interestingly, my take is the recent Indo-US deal will prove a game changer. It is very well timed. It is very strategic, since China is another player. But US is now, trying to be a good friend of the India. US is trying to be a good friend of an all-weather friend. Now he wants to be of the Bangladesh, and Japan is an established friend of the Bangladesh. So I think India must keep its card close to the chest, and India has to maneuver using the help of US and Japan. And yes, we have to look for our strategic interest. As a wise man once said, there is no, permanent friend, no permanent foe. It's only mutual interest. So all I'm concerned, all India should be concerned is to look for its interest, economic interest and strategic interest. Mehta, over to you.
All right, sir, I would please request you to stay on with me. I would like to go across to Mr. Sanjay Srivastav, who is a foreign affairs expert. Sir, of course, the BNP has won this year's elections with a landslide victory. In your opinion, what exactly lies ahead now for Bangladesh, as well as its ties with India, and also the Pakistan factor coming in, because we know that after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, ties between Bangladesh as well as Pakistan have resumed and have become better. Meanwhile, ties with India have been strained.
Well, Meda, first of all, I would say that it's a new dawn for Bangladesh, and after a very turbulent phase of more than 1.5 years, now a new light is emerging, and obviously Bangladesh Nationalist Party was the next best option for the people of Bangladesh, other than Awami League. And unfortunately, Awami League could not contest this election. So in my assessment, Bangladesh Nationalist Party, which has won this election with a thumping majority landslide victory, is a very good and constructive development for the people of Bangladesh, for democracy of Bangladesh, and also for this entire South Asian region. In my assessment for India-Bangladesh relationship too, this is a very constructive and positive development. But I would like to say that this is the defeat of those radical Islamist, extremist, and terrorist forces which have been hatching conspiracy to deeply, influence this Bangladeshi election on the communal lines. And the Hindu community, the way they have been targeted during the entire last several months, obviously that was done with the purpose of
All right, it seems like I've lost my connection with Mr. Srivastav. All right, with that, I would like to go.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, it seems like we're facing some connectivity issues with Mr. Sanjay right there. Remember now, the BNP has won this year's elections with a landslide victory, and it's come back to power after 25 years. And Sheikh Hasina's party was not on the ballot for the first time in 30 years. With that, let me go across to Mr. Pramit Pal Chaudhary, who's still with us on the broadcast. Sir, now, would you agree with this assessment that India and China will try to outdo each other in a race for influence, and that Bangladesh will try to make the most out of it? I mean, China has a bigger, fatter checkbook than India, and of course is vying for influence alongside India as well as USA in Bangladesh, sir.
Well, so far actually Bangladesh hasn't taken very much from China. Traditionally, Bangladesh has preferred to take money from multilateral financial institutions. So they take a lot of money from the World Bank, from the Asia Development Bank, and their biggest ODA provider has been Japan. Partly because Japan provides the lowest rates of interest of any major ODA partner in the world. So there has been no real, there are major Chinese projects and investments, but nothing on the scale that we have seen, for example, in, let's say, Pakistan or even some African countries. China right now is also been a little bit reluctant to lend money to global South countries. You saw them refuse to give any money to Pakistan, their closest ally, during the last couple of years of their financial crisis. We saw when the president of Maldives, Muizu, was elected a few years ago, and he's very anti-Indian. He went to China and basically said, "I'll be your man in the Indian Ocean. Give me some money." It was Xi Jinping basically said $200 million, 6% interest. China right now, for various domestic reasons, is not being very generous with external assistance. And therefore, if I mean, they will give some money, but it's ultimately not going to be very much. India has consistently shown, for example, $5 billion of assistance we provided to Sri Lanka in their moment of crisis, to be the best possible donor for any South Asian country that is prepared to work with us. Our concerns will not be economic with Bangladesh. Our concerns will be security issues. And as long as, my understanding is the BNP has negotiated these out with the Indian government before the elections, that as long as our security interests regarding safe haven for Northeast militants, the presence of Pakistani terror groups which have functioned there in the past in Bangladesh, as long as these are handled to our satisfaction by the BNP, and we have received assurances on that front, India will be reasonably pleased with the government. As for the Hindu minorities, Tarique Rahman has actually all the reason to try and protect them, because they have voted overwhelmingly for him. If you look at Khulna, you look at Chittagong, you look at Sylhet, you look at Mymensingh, these are all areas where minorities are as much as 50% of the population. He has swept all of them. It is the Awami Muslim vote that has refused to vote for him. So all of this indicates to him that his electoral support, his electoral base, is best preserved by keeping these minority groups happy. He also knows that one of the key reasons for the Hindu minority to vote for him was because they were told to do so by Delhi.
All right, sir, I would please request you to stay on with me. With that, I would like to bring in Mr. Sanjay Srivastav back into the conversation. Sir, now we know that ever since the ouster of the Sheikh Hasina-led government, attacks on minorities have been reported within Bangladesh, and the Yunus regime per se has not done much to ensure justice in such cases. And the BNP also has a checkered past when it comes to minorities. Back in 2001, its allies, I mean the BNP along with the Jamaat-e-Islami, had had carried out attacks against the minority communities who were seen as the supporters of the Awami League. So going forward, do you think now that with the BNP in power and a fresh face of Tarique Rahman, that the attacks on minorities perhaps will cease to exist, and that this government will present some sort of an accountability to the plight of minorities in the country, sir?
Well, Mr. Tarique Rahman, when he returned from exile from London to Bangladesh, he had promised to build a new Bangladesh. And obviously, he has to fulfill that promise. And in my assessment, the difference between this new dispensation of BNP and this new government which is going to be formed, and the previous ones where they ruled 3 times, the real difference is that at that time, Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh was in alliance with BNP. And there was a pressure on that previous BNP governments of these extremist forces, Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh, to do things according to their wishes too. So, but this time, the change which has come is that this Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh and other radical Islamist parties are in opposition. So that pressure will not be there this time on BNP, what it used to be. So I think that will smoothen the BNP working, and obviously the kind of a policy and the approaches they want to pursue, they can do it freely. And in my assessment, if you look at the previous BNP governments under the leadership of Khalida Zia, our relationship, India's relationship with Bangladesh could be termed as normal. I would say that it was not, I would not call it a negative and a very destructive kind of approaches the radical Islamist party could have adopted. I think that the BNP government in previous times too, they had a normal relationship with India, but this time when they will have a rather smoother paths to pursue their policies and pronouncements, they might have a good relationship with India. And our government, Prime Minister Modi and our External Affairs Minister C.S. Jaishankar, they are all in touch with the BNP establishment. And C.S. Jaishankar visited Bangladesh when, Khalida Jia's she died. And obviously, he carried a letter of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi too, conveying the deep condolences as well as the good wishes for the BNP and its future. So I believe that our establishment is in touch with this BNP establishment, and this new government might have a good relationship with India as compared to the previous times, because that pressure of the radicals will not be there. So I expect a good ties and a normal ties with Bangladesh in the times ahead. But this is also, I would like to say that this is the defeat of those Islamist radical forces which have been hatching conspiracy to influence this Bangladeshi election in a very negative way on the communal lines. And they have been targeting Hindu community, they have been targeting other minorities. But now, since the people have given their verdict, this mandate is loud and clear that the people want democracy, people want peace and stability and progress, people want communal harmony. So I think the message has gone out very clearly to each and every body in Bangladesh, that Bangladesh believes in democracy. And I think it's a very, very constructive, a very good development for the people of Bangladesh, for the democracy of Bangladesh, as well as for India-Bangladesh relationship and for entire South Asian region. So I think in my assessment, I see a brighter future for Bangladesh after this election. And let's hope that this new government, which is going to be formed under the leadership of Tarique Rahman, they will take care of the interest of the Hindu community and the kind of grievances, the kind of attacks they have been suffering in last several months. They will address it by taking proper action, strict action against those elements. So I believe that that's what India would expect. But if you look at the the roots of India-Bangladesh relationship, obviously that root is very, very strong based on our shared values and shared cultural and social ties and fabrics. I think that remains very strong point. That's the key point. And I believe that our ties with Bangladesh in times ahead will get better and will get a higher trajectory under the leadership of Tarique Rahman.
All right, sir, I would please request you to stay on with me. Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim congratulates Tarique Rahman and the Bangladesh Nationalist Party on their emphatic victory. Taking to X, the Prime Minister wrote, and I quote, "This is a triumph of democracy. The Bangladeshi people, having navigated a period of extraordinary challenges, have spoken clearly at the ballot box. I also wish to express appreciation to my dear friend Dr. Mohammed Yunus for his stewardship as chief advisor during this important transition and for ensuring that the democratic process proceeded smoothly. Malaysia looks forward to working with the new Bangladeshi leadership to bring new energy to our bilateral ties. I join Malaysians in extending our warmest regards to the people of Bangladesh." End quote. All right, with that, now let's take a look at some recent numbers and comparison. Now remember, flurry of congratulations are pouring in after the victory of Tarique Rahman in this year's parliamentary elections. Now let us look at the Bangladeshi polls at 2026, the critical details. This is the vote share till 11:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. The BNP sat at 56.8% of the votes. Meanwhile, the Jamaat-e-Islami, the second largest party, polled 22% of the votes. Other parties gained 0.02% of the votes, meaning that the BNP had gotten 197 seats by the time it was 11:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time, while the Jamaat-e-Islami, the Islamist party, had won 66 seats, whereas other parties that were in the fray, such as Jatiya Party, Irshad and others, had gotten a total of 7 seats. So I think it's already pretty much clear that by the time it was already 11:30 that the BNP had a clear victory. Now these are the seat share comparison for the past 5 elections, for the past 4 elections rather, along with this year's elections. Now in the year 2026, the BNP of course won 97 seats, but in the year 2024 a very poor show with just 0 seats, and in the year 2018 it had gotten 7 seats, whereas again a poor show in the year 2014, and in the year 2008 it had gotten 30 seats. Coming back to the Islamist Jamaat-e-Islami, which has 166 seats, it had polled 0 seats in the past successive 3 elections, standing at 0. With seats at just 2 in 2008, and we also have all other parties polling in. So these are the numbers of all other parties. We have other parties polling in at just 7 this time, whereas you have the seat. You can see that you can see negligible. You can see rather that seat shares of other parties have declined significantly, whereas those of the BNP has increased significantly from a very poor show back in the 2008 elections and a very poor show back in 2024 to 197 seats in this year's elections, as well as the Jamaat-e-Islami, a poor show but gaining some seats this time around. All right, so this was the seat distribution of the, it was rather a two-way contest this time between the BNP as well as the Jamaat-e-Islami. Mr. Yuvraj, still with us on the broadcast. Sir, now the Awami League of course has been barred from elections, and Sheikh Hasina's party has rather been disbanded, and in your opinion, is there any political future left for the Awami League? Do you think that it could possibly come back? The ban could be lifted on it, it could be rehabilitated and reintegrated back into Bangladesh's domestic politics?
Discussing democracy about any Islamic state seems a futile discussion to me, for I know one thing for sure. The end goal of any Islamic nation is just another Islamic revolution to exalt themselves among the Ummah or the OIC, so to speak. If you carefully assess the case of Afghanistan, even the previous government dispensation was Islamic, the current Taliban is Islamic, but if you carefully weight them, the only difference between both these, the former and the later, will be just one. मैं बड़ा मुसलमान, कौन बड़ा मुसलमान? मैं बड़ा मुसलमान. So this is the thing. All the Islamic leadership wants is to play to the galleries, is to play to the Ummah, is to play to the OIC. You may ponder why. The only reason is to seek some financial aid from multilateral organizations like World Bank, WHO, so on and so forth, by playing some kind of victim card that we have been we have undergone at turbulent times. We are now to settle and absorb the new democratic setup. Please help us, please help us. So they are expert at extending their begging bowls, and they also seek some kind of patronage and petrodollars from the likes of Oman, Saudi, Dubai, so on and so forth. It is always Islam that precedes. Governance always gets a back seat, or in fact it gets a no seat when it comes to Islamic nations. Now, after this, having said this, let me address your question. You don't need to do anything high, just juxtapose Afghanistan with Bangladesh. So once the dispensation is out, it is out till the ruler is alive. Trust me, the progeny or progenitors of Sheikh Hasina may have some future in Bangladesh, but
yes, sir.
That will take a generation.
Sir, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but we're running a little short on time. With that, I will be thanking all my guests, Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta, Mr. Pramit Pal Chaudhary, as well as Mr. Yuvraj Pokharna and Mr. Sanjeev Srivastav for sharing their insights with us here at Newsx. With that, I step into a very short break. Thank you so much for watching.
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
This week on the roundtable, we are taking a look at the danger our country faces from the number of Chinese imports that have been literally dumped onto our country. Our economy is at great risk. What can the budget do about it?
The budget is like an iron dome. It protects our factories, it protects Indian capacities, and we need to defend them from the onslaught that the Chinese economy is doing on India. And it has reached huge proportions, so there is a need for an urgent step to be taken by the union budget.
What I feel is not single measure, there can be multiple measures, but the best way to stop Chinese imports is by raising tariffs. History has shown it. We must raise tariffs as per the WTO agreements, and we have the limit of 50.4% average weighted tariff, whereas we are imposing hardly 6%. So there is a huge gap between what is the bound rate and what is the actual effective rate.
I think we should strengthen our industrial policy and see to it that our PLI scheme also is interweaved with quality in a very strengthened manner, so that we are back on the path of having the QCOs into the country to a great extent of sectors and pushing them very hard.
Thank you.
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
Good afternoon, you're watching Newsx and I'm Medha Sharan. A horrific hit and run in Lucknow has left a child dead and multiple pedestrians injured. Around 7 p.m. near the Hanuman temple on Kanpur Road, a speeding car allegedly driven by a class 12 student returning from a farewell party struck a parked motorcycle, plowed into people on the roadside, rammed an e-rickshaw and finally came to a halt. My colleague Abhishek Singh joins us live from the accident site. Abhishek, take us through the details of this case first, please.
Yes, after the Lamborghini Kanpur hit and run case, approximately the same kind of incident happened in Lucknow last evening, approx 7 p.m. in the evening. Here we are right now in the Kanpur Banthara road, and this is the same car which was there at the time of accident and which occurred the accident. You can see the condition of the car. The tire is almost like burnt. This is showing what was the speed of the car at the time of the accident. The car was driven by Gaurav Singh, who was a 12th student and was coming back from his farewell party with one of his friend, and car was this much in speed that it got disbalanced and not only injured 6 of the pedestrians who were there on and were buying their household things, but also resulted in killing one of the child who was there with her parents. And you can see the condition of the car. Car was almost blown from the front side. You can see the visuals right here. How much was the speed of the car at the time of the accident? You can see through the visuals that car from the front side, the bonnet area and approx the engine area is almost blown out at the time of the accident, and you can see the condition of the tire. It is almost burned.